Okay, we're live. I'm gonna try to knock out today my baseline picture. This will be the picture which in a year's time or 6 months' time or whenever I reference going back to the beginning, this will be the picture I look at, and I'll try to either draw it again to make any little improvements I may have learned, or I will it'll just be the reference picture to track my improvement. I'll probably put it up on Instagram after I'm done here. For anybody that's listening, thanks for showing up. And if anybody wants to join me, come on and chat for a little bit. Feel free to send me a DM. Uh, Twitter's been acting funny. So if you want to join in, you're going to have to send me your email, and I'll link you in from there. For some reason, I can't send out Hangouts invites just through DMs on Twitter anymore. I guess I'm not the only person that's been having this problem. So let's get started. Like again, this is my completely untrained hand showing where I am to start before I start doing any actual cartooning lessons. So we're gonna showing where I am to start. Let's turn that down before I start doing any actual. All right. So let's see what we can do here. We're gonna start here. It's a little kind of head and face. Let's see. Do a little kind of skeleton. This is how I imagine a rib cage looks. Probably my proportions aren't going to be great. I have an idea of where this is going. Just some quick hands, I guess. Anybody who is watching, if you care to join, I'm going to have to go through emails. So send me DM me an email, your email. Say something in the chat so I know that you want to go. I'll drop you an email invite, and you can pop in. It looks like 2 people are watching. I'm not sure who. Hopefully, this chat will update because it didn't update the other day. Let's see. Maybe if I type something. Hello, the chat. Let's see if that. All right. Hello, the chat. All right. Honestly, I'm not sure how this hip bone is supposed to be kind of shaped, so we'll just do simple that way. We'll assume the little ball is where this hand is. That leg's probably not long enough. Oh. I have kind of an odd setup for my camera. Right now this is like a regular shaded lamp, and the camera is actually inside the clipped on the shade, inside the shade, pointing down. I'll probably have a better setup at some point in the future. But as of right now, this is where this is what I have for setup. So this would be kind of a rock or something that he's standing on. Just a bigger rock. Some grass. I think that head's probably a little bit too big. Now let's see. There's one. There's two. There's three. There's about four. So my 7 heads tall guy is about 5 heads tall, maybe a little bit less. Now, he's kind of supposed to be a child anyway. That's what I'm going with for this. So I don't know if children are supposed to be slightly smaller in proportion. I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see how he turns out. Let's see. So what we're gonna do is, all right, there's a basic skeleton. We're doing, it's a leg cuff. A lot of his kind of anatomy is going to be hidden in this particular picture. I am looking at the chat, so you can also, if you want to chime in, you can just respond to that Twitter thing I sent out, or you can DM me directly. I'll be trying to pay attention a little bit to both. Alrighty. So let's see here. Let's see, we'll do a little wrinkle there. Mike Murphy's in my DM, so he's hanging in the chat. He's got a house full of people and he doesn't want to wake anybody up. I understand. It's the middle of the night. It's 3:30 a.m. here, actually. I'm trying to keep these light. I'm trying to keep my penciling kind of light, but it's probably a little darker than I want because it's getting even kind of busy for me to see what's going on here. That shoulders out a little bit more than I want. Not sure how that fold should lie. So there's the front. Oh, that's the skeleton, so let's put that up a little straighter. Oh, get the dogs whining in the background. Is there anybody in the chat can tell me what they think this is going to end up being? You'll notice I drew kind of small. I think that's one of the things, even when I was younger, I always kind of drew small. I'm probably going to have to learn to draw a little bigger. That's probably why it's really hard for me to see with all my little extra details what it is that I'm doing. It probably would be easier if I drew it bigger, just so I had kind of an idea. Let me see here. Just kind of critiquing myself as I go. Yeah, it's gonna, if I don't learn to draw a little bigger, it's gonna get a little, it's gonna get difficult to know. Not too happy with that. It's gonna get a lot more difficult for me to know what I'm doing, where to put stuff anatomically. I can't remember where the ears go. Good about myself. I think ears go there. I think top of the ear, top of the eyes. What I'm thinking. I don't know if I have that right. Let's see. I'm gonna check something out right here. Why don't I see this on my tweets? Oh, here we go. Let's mute that. Oh, here we go. All right, I can now see the chat. I couldn't see the chat on my phone, guys. I'm sorry about that. I got it on my computer, so now I can see what everybody's typing. Yes, he's in that Captain Morgan pose, the medal. Let's see. Hey, the medal. Hey, Mike Murphy. Let's see. Yeah, I got to get better at drawing big. Let's see. I'm just going to right back to the beginning of the chat and read what everyone wrote. Let's see. Mike Murphy says, "Hola, hello there." He already told me in the DMs that he can't come on. That's fine. Metal's in the same boat. He's silent inking right now. Let's see. Metal says, "Hello, Mike." Let's see. Yeah, Mike Murphy's got relatives and stuff listening. I totally understand. Let's see. Yeah, Metal says, getting in the habit of drawing small is better for sequentials, while drawing big helps with pinups. All right. But I'm finding it hard because there's a lot of detail. If you notice, there's a lot of kind of detail happening right there. And it's hard, small, to kind of get in there for me. Maybe when I'll throw a little ink on it and see. Let's see. All right, and the Metal says, I think it's because most people picture their subject in a scene they aren't drawing the rest of. Looking at now much space on a cartoon character sized up on the screen. Yeah, and Durkin says, don't draw small, fill the page. Yeah, I should be filling the page. I should be doing bigger. Well, that's my little baseline. Small. Let me see. I'll try to do a little bigger and see how well I do that way. My camera setup is actually a little funky. I think I already mentioned it. It's inside my my thing. So I've actually got a wire dangling down, kind of in my arm. You can't really see it there. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Oh man, there we go. That's still good. All right. Let me see. Let's try. We'll try drawing a little bigger. Dragon, if you want to jump up in here, I can send you a link. Everybody else is family sleeping. I've got family sleeping too. I'm trying to keep my voice quiet, but my daughter might actually walk up here and tell me to shut up. Yeah, vast white space. All right, so I will try. I will endeavor. Let's try drawing that a little bigger. Is that big enough for you? You happy now? Yeah, let's see. Trying. I know. There is a chin on there. I think that's about halfway. Does that look about halfway to you for the eyes? Let's see. There's the back of the skull. It's invisible right there. I'm doing it's kind of a cartoony. It's not quite realistic. So we'll just be drawing like little stick stuff for now. It's kind of going to be a sticky kind of character anyway, as far as the subject matter. So you're watching a completely untrained artist. I know a few things, just little things I've picked up watching other people cartoon. I've watched other people draw. I've kind of a little bit looked into it. There's a huge head. I've watched other people do it. I don't remember all the proportion numbers. Uh, so we'll see how this looks. I'm just kind of eyeballing it. I'm sure there's more. All right. To what I'm doing here. We're going to try to draw essentially the same picture, only slightly bigger. See, I know those aren't quite what they should be for proportion wise. So I'll be doing lessons, not in, lessons that I teach stuff, but I've got some books here. And when I formally start saying, okay, this is what I'm going to learn today, I'm basically going to I'm going to pick the book and I'm going to show you from the book and read a little bit. Oh, this is what I'm reading. This is what I'm working with. And this is the lesson I'll be doing. I'm not actually working from the book now, but the book I'm leaning on right now is this one here. It's cartooning the hidden figure. I'm not actually doing a lesson from the book today, but since it's cartooning, that's kind of what I'm doing the baseline on for. Really, right now I'm using it to rest my elbow, so it's not against my table. This does not look right. Where's my elbow fall? There's the neck. Neck's right there. So let's do this. Kind of lean in one way. No. the key for me particularly is to stay calm and try not to get overly frustrated with myself because I don't pick stuff up immediately and just get mad and drop it. I figure if I run this whole thing, the whole drawing thing, like an experiment, like the whole point of my drawing now, learning to draw. Hey, Paul's here. Look at that. If anybody doesn't know, Paul Dozier and I are working on a few projects together. He's a really good artist. If you want to jump in here, just let me know. I'll send you the link through the email. Any of you other guys too. I know some of you guys say it's a late night for you and you got family you don't want to wake up. Well, I'm waking up my family. I'm keeping them awake, so I don't know what your issue is. So for me, right now you can see he has a huge head, but I haven't finished the rest of the body. I'm drawing it kind of cartoony, and as you suggested, I've gone a little bigger with how I'm doing the design. I know like I said, this is the baseline drawing, so I'm sure I don't have all the proportions right. Oh, did you say send a link? I must have missed it. Oh yeah, all right. I'm gonna send Dragon a link. Hold on here. Yeah, I'm kind of half paying attention as I'm chit-chatting. Hey, Dragon, DM me your email, because that's how I have to send the link through. And I'll send that right out to you. All right, we'll go back here. All right, let's get back to that. Alrighty. You know, sending it in two chats like that doesn't hide it from people. They can still email you all kinds of nasty emails, so you're not fooling anybody. Let's see. It's all spam, so it doesn't matter. Oh, so now my email's spam. You're sending me right to your spam. That's wonderful. Oh, look at that. All right, so invitation sent. All right. Oh, okay. Well, if you want to, Paul, feel free to pop in. Just be all making fun of me anyway. You know what? Let me try something here. Let's change this. Because we're trying to do a little dynamic kind of pose here. Oh, sounds like Dragon's here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Alrighty, how's it going, man?
Is there an echo or something? Is that how you heard?
No, it's just as soon as you turned on, I could hear. I don't know if you got background noise. I mean, it's not noisy, but I can hear. I just heard the background kind of come on.
Oh,
It's not distracting or anything. It's just I could tell as soon as you popped on. I could tell because there was suddenly more noise in my ears.
okay. I'm not wearing headphones, so if
Okay.
there's any echo, just let me know.
Okay. No, it's fine. It's fine. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm reading Kyle Ritter's comments towards me.
Uh-oh. Is he saying bad stuff about you?
No, I asked him for advice about coloring.
Oh, okay, okay. Let's see. The question is, how am I doing?
You're doing okay. I think the elbow should be a little bit further down.
Okay, we
Just
can
off
do
of
that.
looking at it.
Yeah, no, we can do that. We can do that. Let's see.
That what you have there, the I don't know what to call it. That
Um,
weird shape that's in the for the torso.
like for the
Yeah,
chest.
yeah,
Okay.
that generally is supposed to represent your rib cage.
Yeah,
So you gotta put like the at the end of it is like the bottom of your sternum.
right here at the. It's probably a little bit. It's
No, higher. Like right up the where you stop that is at the bottom of your sternum.
okay. Oh, okay, so it should be bigger than that, is what you're
Yeah,
saying.
and then it comes down like into the rib cage, so it like separates
All right. So
usually.
would it separate wider as well?
Yeah, you've seen a rib cage, right?
Yeah, but I haven't really studied it. You know what I mean?
Okay, well, it's like it has a think of it as a barrel, and then like the sternum comes down to about half to about your breast line,
Okay. Yeah, hold on. Let
and
me.
then your ribs extend further, going smaller on each side.
Okay.
And the bottom of the barrel is just gone.
All right. So is that a decent shape, or should I make that to the sternum, or am I
No, that's
gonna?
a decent shape. You don't
I'm
have
gonna.
to really worry about the shape. It's just something to be
Okay.
noted.
So the rib cage would come down more or less like this, and maybe around like that. I don't know. Like I said, it's gonna be a little delayed probably from what you're saying because I'm kind of watching it live myself.
No, like I don't know what you're drawing there. Now it looks
Yeah,
like a
I know
head mount.
it's gonna be it's gonna, like I said, it's a little bit of delay. So let me see.
It's in two pieces. It goes once it comes off your breast, it splits off into two pieces. So the rib cage, like from the center,
Mm-hmm.
that shape that you drew before,
Yeah.
do it towards the center. Like the end line should be at the center, not the other side. And there should be like a curve at the top.
Uh.
You know what? I can actually probably show you it
All right.
if
All
I
right.
can find it because I don't feel like drawing
No, that's fine. That's
or
fine.
trying to draw with a
No, that's
mouse.
fine. That's fine. All right. So what? All right. What I drew would be the bottom of the sternum. So basically, his torso is like super short. Is what
Well,
I
how
can.
people generally draw is that's how you do it.
Yeah. Well, that's what I want to do. Is the people who generally draw are probably better than I am. So that's the lesson I need to learn.
Uh, okay, where's it keeps on switching on here. Hold on. Okay, you see that?
See you?
Yeah.
Uh, not yet. Hold on. Let me go to my because I'm watching the. I'm not watching everything live. Here we go. All right. All right. Now I see you. Let's.
Yeah, you see this? Can you see my mouse?
Yeah. Well, I can see the whole picture now.
Okay, you see where the like skin slash uh clothes are ripped and you can see the rib cage?
Uh huh.
That's how the rib cage is formed.
All
So you
right.
see
So
there's a circular form there. It's like a half circle.
let's
And
see.
the sternum ends at the breastbone,
Oh,
at the
oh,
where your breast
excuse me.
would
I'm
be.
sorry. I burped in your face. All right. So there's that. I'm trying to draw it. It's not straight on. All right. Oh, so that would be the sternum. So the sternum. All right. Uh, you see where I'm at right now? Let's go back to my picture. Should I? Let me see. Where I had the bottom before, that should be about where that little.
Yeah, where the top of that thing is.
Like that?
I'd say you want to put it up maybe a little bit higher. Yeah, about right there.
There we
Where
go.
you would want it.
All right, and this would be the rib cage.
I think. Yeah. No.
Oh, I guess I had this wire hanging down, so it kind of.
It's about right there, yeah, where you want it.
All right.
I generally find it easier to draw like the pecs and the breasts, and then like you can figure out the rest from there.
Mm-hmm.
Because immediately you notice like that's not working.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. I'm trying to do. I don't know. I don't want to sit here and make excuses. So I just want to. I really want to learn and take everybody's criticism correctly. Let's see. So you would go ahead and just draw in the musculature.
Well, for me, it just
Okay.
I see that
And
automatically. Yeah.
I would that helps you kind of get a sense of where everything's at.
Yeah, for
That
that place.
in your head, that's how that helped you. No, that's fine. Like everybody's different, so I take what everybody says. For me personally, and like I said, this isn't saying, "Oh no, you're not giving me good advice." It's more, I'm trying to get the whole. I'm a big picture person, as far as like I like to get a sense of the whole thing before I do the details. So I think for me right now, and maybe I'll change later. Getting the kind of basic overall figure, not musculature, but the skeletal, kind of leads me to where I want to go. But like I said, I'm just beginning, so I mean that might all change.
And if you can figure out where the belly button goes, like off the top of your head, that generally lines up with where the elbow goes.
Oh, okay,
Like you draw not a curve, draw a curve like from that to any elbow, and it should be about there where it is there.
okay. Let me see.
Rather than forgetting where the is it 2 heads, 3 heads, 4 heads? It's like no, it's about where the elbow is, where the belly button is. That's about where it goes.
All right. So let's try that. I use my little circular half circle tool.
And the roughly where the hand is at the mid thigh.
Mid thigh. All right. Well, let's do then this elbow. All right.
Of course, this all helps better if you can visualize it all in your head and
Well, then right here, if you see right here, this is kind of on my little picture.
yeah.
That's kind of more or less what I'm going for, and I have an idea of what it is. I'm calling it Samurai Boy. Just it's supposed to be, and it's. I mean, there's no like character or whatever. It's just in my head. That's what I called it.
That works.
Yeah, and it's going to be kind of because I can stick them anywhere when I'm drawing. So if I decide, okay, today I'm going to learn to draw elephants, I'll say, okay, Samurai Boy riding an elephant. Or if he's going to fight monsters, well, Samurai Boy can fight whoever, wherever, because there's no real world that he lives in. So it's a good kind of blank slate for me. And probably I'll draw him real simple as I start learning to draw more detail, that kind of stuff. The medal says he draws pectorals first out of habit. Most people's forearms are the same length as their feet. Well, that's interesting.
That's true too.
A lot
But
of people
most people can't draw feet, so and you always see them foreshortened anyways.
Yeah.
So it's not that helpful.
And that's what he says.
Cool
He says, yeah, a lot of people, he says, forearms are the same length as their feet. A lot of people draw tiny feet. It's a good tool. It's a good tool to keep it cool. All right. Mike Murphy signing off. Hey, thanks for showing up, Mike. I really appreciate it. Maybe later, some other time, we'll get on and you can show me what I'm doing wrong. Let's see. Paul says you have a cool logo, Dragon.
Yeah, I stole it from someone. Or rather, I borrowed it a long, long time ago.
I'll have to find it. Well, no, I've got my little smoking man logo. I stole that from a 50s men's magazine. Let's see.
Yeah, I recognize it. I just
I don't. It's one of those. I was actually doing some. Well, I first saw that little logo, the little guy smoking. Samurai guy was. Paul Dozier says Samurai guy was sitting right there, and you walked right past it. LOL. Actually, I was gonna kind of sorta model it after my oldest son because he's really tall and lanky, and like I always picture Samurai with like high water pajamas on and like really short like robes like on the elbow, like on the arm, and that's how my son looks because he's growing way too fast. He's 14. He's already taller than I am. So when I thought Samurai Boy, and I think of like the gi and stuff coming up really short on the legs, that was kind of the image I had. Let's see.
that's cool.
Yeah, so we're
You
gonna
can go with the name Samurai.
Samurai, maybe.
Cheesy ass name that is.
Well, I mean, not that Samurai Boy was all that clever anyway. And I think there's already a comic called Samurai Boy. All right. So let me see. What's a good shape for the torso? I mean, very simple. Is it like kind of? Is it? I've been doing triangles. I like triangles, but I don't even know.
Uh, yeah, triangle is okay.
All right. And let's
Yeah,
put.
I'm not one for drawing the base shapes all that much. I was forced to back in the day.
Yeah. All right. Did you order? Do you have Bigfoot Bill coming in or?
No, I can't
Uh,
buy anything. I have no money.
oh, all right. Yeah. I'm not here to. I'm not. I'm not here to shame you. So that's not. That's not a. Let's see. So let's see. We're gonna do this again.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like, yeah, I can't participate in it. So, like, that's what happens when you have zero money.
Well, this is all this comic book stuff. As much as I like doing it, is kind of right now. It's all on hobby time.
Uh,
So I mean, I can't do this full time. I do have a full time job. Tonight is actually my night off, but I have to go back to work tomorrow night, and so on the night before I go back to my night work, I stay up late to get back into the sleep schedule because I'm gonna have to sleep all day. So I figured, well, I'll get down and do a little drawing, and we'll
yeah,
get this.
personally, I can't do that. I have to, well, I sort of can, but my sleep schedule gets messed up no matter what I do. So it just slowly moves forward until it hits like, until I'm sleeping during the day completely.
So
And I have to force myself to move it back toward into the nighttime.
yeah, it's I have to do this every other day. I work like I'll have this. I worked this weekend, then I get 2 days off. That first day is always like I sleep half the day, so that's always a waste. And then the second day is a full day, but then sometimes I have to take a nap, and sometimes I have to stay up just all day and all night, and then sleep the rest of the and sleep the next day. So my days off are like hardly days off at all.
Yeah, my body rebels against me. It's like I get it to the right point. It's like, yes, I'm awake. And then the next day it's like, why did I sleep like 12 extra hours?
Yeah.
What?
I got 3 kids, so I can't get 12 hours of sleep really. Well, on weekdays when they're at school, but I like one my oldest is homeschooled, so he's usually pretty quiet. But if he starts screwing up, then my wife's yelling at him all day, so that I won't sleep the whole day. The metal says slowly jet lag yourself, and you'll be on a proper sleep schedule every couple of weeks or so.
Yeah, that's about what I have to do.
Yeah, let's see. We'll have that there, and we'll put the hand here. Just and where's my little round thing? We wanted about mid thigh.
Yeah, it's about mid thigh.
Fingers should be about mid thigh.
I just go with the ball of the hand.
All right, so that's about probably should be a little high. Oh, I guess that'll work for now. That'll work for now. There's that. That's about mid-thigh right there. So what that does is give me my proportion there. So I can take this, kind of eyeball it.
Yeah, not everyone's like arms are the same length, so you don't have to really hit it perfectly.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to get a basic idea. Like this head right now to me looks absolutely huge, but there's no flesh on anything. So for all I know, I'm drawing a little skeleton robot until I feel like I can flesh it out a little bit. But for me, I want to get the basic idea, the basic shape down of what the body's doing, and then I don't know, then cover it with flesh and clothes and stuff. At least that's what I'm trying to accomplish here. And we'll see if that works out for me. And maybe later on, when I'm doing more study, another habit will pop up. Maybe I'll draw like you said, drawing the pectorals and stuff like that first, or maybe I'll end up drawing toes first.
I draw the pectorals in like the first thing I do with the torso generally, just because it's natural. But I don't do it like for the overall.
Oh, okay.
And like I said, it's a way to figure out where everything goes.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you see it, you know the relationship automatically with the head. It seems, at least for me. So once you get that, then you know generally where everything else is.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have two or three extra points of data you can work from. Because you know it's about like 1/3 of the way through the torso, for example, the pectorals are.
Okay.
And then also that's about halfway to the upper arm, which means it's about half of a quarter of the length of the full arm.
About what's the length of the thigh bone to the shin bone? The knee bone's connected to the shin bone.
Well, it's if I remember, it's about the same length of an arm.
Okay.
All the pieces are about the same length.
Oh, okay. So
but if I remember right, the upper thigh, the upper leg bone is supposed to be slightly longer.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
All right. So let's make that just slightly shorter. And I know it's 7 heads, although that head looks probably like it's going to be a big head for the proportions I've drawn for the rest. Let me see here. Let's get rid of this because this is just... So let's say we'll just do this. Like one of the things, like you're talking about, everybody obviously has different slightly proportions and different lengths and stuff. I was looking at hands. I'm looking at my own hands, and I remember seeing something where it's like, oh, the length of whatever finger will tell you if you're like a long distance runner or something like that. I don't know if you've seen any of that. And I'm like,
oh yeah, the ring finger on I think your left hand. No, I think it's both ring fingers, but your ring finger, it can grow or shrink based on your testosterone level.
well, I think that's part of the development, though, right?
Yeah.
For in the womb kind of stuff. And I was looking at that. I'm like, you know what? I'm not prepared to get into so much details where every character is going to have different sized fingers.
I think how to do it right.
Yeah, you got to just get a baseline and then draw that. Everybody's got the same length fingers. Because I don't think anybody's like examining a Wolverine picture and going, oh no, that ring finger is too short. It's always supposed to be longer than the other finger. Let's see. trying to imagine, because right here is going to be like his belt, I guess, would be right around here. His little ninja belt.
Yeah, if you look at my screen share, that's how I did my forms. Like on the right, the break down into the freaking stick figure skeleton, which you're trying to do. And then the base form is on the left.
All right. I'm looking at your picture right now.
Teacher freaking hated me for doing that. Well, she just wanted the one on the the more fleshed out one.
Mm-hmm.
But because I was able to do that so fast, there's no point in doing the other one. No reason I didn't do the other one. I just wanted to have it for comparison.
Yeah. All right.
How long do you think that took me?
You said you were fast, so I'm going to give you 5 minutes.
Really?
I don't know. I have no idea about these things. I'm just guessing.
Well, you've seen people.
I've seen other people draw, but I mean, I've seen some people draw really slow and detailed, and some people draw really fast. That this looks kind of like a sketch. I mean, obviously it's a sketch. It's not super detailed. I'm just kind of guessing. Did you want? I mean, for the whole picture, like all both?
No, just one of those. Just one of the forms.
All right. Like I said, I don't really know you. I've never really watched you draw, and this is kind of sketch. That's why I threw out the 5 minutes. I'm guessing you asked me for a reason, so maybe you were either saying, "Yeah, look how fast I am," or "Oh, I'm really slow."
That would be really slow for me.
5 minutes? Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yes, for me that would be quick. And that would be a lot more. It would be actually probably longer than 5 minutes for me, just because I'm just starting. But
the fleshed out form took me 30 seconds.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's maybe I'll be up there eventually.
And to be a good animator, you're supposed to be able to do that in a minute.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't think I'll be getting any of those jobs anytime soon. But I'm still, like I said, what I'm doing this baseline here, it's going off of what's in my head, not so much after any real lessons. So I'm just that's the point of tonight's drawing for me. For me, that's the point of tonight's drawing, is just to look back at it later and say, okay, well, how could I have improved it? And this is how much better I've gotten after actually practicing.
Yeah, that face is 5-10 minutes.
Okay. Go back to me. Let me see here. So right here, this is where, about that one, his little sword thing's gonna be.
Wait.
What?
Am I reading this right?
You're reading what?
Does Kyle Ritter not know who Captain America is?
I don't think that's possible. I like Kyle, and I think because of his hearing impairment, his grammar is a little off. So you may be missing. I don't know what you're reading.
Oh, no, I read it wrong. Okay.
Yeah,
I get it.
I know sometimes his grammar is a little off because I assume it's because he's been talking in sign language his whole life. Maybe the grammar rules are a little different. So
he goes, I believe that Lone Star would be 40s, 50s, correct? If so, do research. It's what Old Bank should look like when. Then it should give you some ideas. Then Sierra Whiskey says Lone Star is currently in modern times. And he says, now I'm so confused. And look, Sierra Whiskey says Lone Star was a World War II Navy fighter pilot that nearly died in an experiment that extended his life and gave him abilities. The events in the comics take place in modern times. Then Kyle says Captain America. Question mark, question mark, question mark.
Oh, maybe he's thinking Captain America. He's thinking everybody. Like I as a joke, I kind of call him Captain Texas.
Yeah.
So maybe he's thinking he's describing Captain America's timeline because it's a very similar kind of story.
Yeah. And Sierra says, Mike is gonna have to take this one. And Kyle responds with, I'm sorry, I fucked up, guys.
Now we know who's not reading Lone Star. And they were saying it's more or less the forearm, so let's try to eyeball that. And let's see.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Lone. Well, that's not true. I know about Lone Star, but I mean, I haven't read it, so.
Yeah, he's yeah, they put him in the little experimental thing. They brought him back to life, or they saved him from a fatal wound. As a result, whatever process they did turns him into like it extends his life. So I think he's part of a team, and they all had that little procedure done. Some of them are from Vietnam. Some of them are much newer. I think there's a guy from Korea, and they all have certain powers that they do. And he's the kind of the leader, the main guy. And he died in World War II, so he's like in his 80s or something. He still looks like he's 30, whatever.
It hasn't? Seriously? Lone Star hasn't gotten to you yet?
No, I have it.
No, the metal says
sorry.
hasn't gotten to me yet.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I've gotten everything so far except for actually I'm waiting on Ravage and Bigfoot Bill. And those guys, Ravage actually shipped earlier, and everybody's been getting Bigfoot Bill, so it's driving me insane that everybody's getting it, and I haven't got it yet. So, and it looks amazing.
I've seen a couple of pictures that the cover looks pretty good.
Yeah. Let's see. Metal says I'm not reading Lone Star. Oh, okay, sorry, because it hasn't got to it yet.
I don't know. I know Mike had a lot of trouble with that in some form or another. Like what's Denali or DeWolf got it, and they wanted to charge more shipping.
Huh? Like they got it and they were like, we're not going to release it to you till you pay more shipping?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Something like that. I don't remember exactly how it went, but
I was watching Doug was on Ethan's stream tonight talking about some of the issues they had. He said some people opened it up and they found like a carpet catalog and a romance novel and just completely ridiculous stuff that's not, and he says what he thinks happened is like the boxes tipped or whatever and everything fell out of the boxes, and that the mail guy just like shoved stuff back in like willy-nilly. So there's somebody out there expecting a carpet catalog that's got a Bigfoot Bill. And he was joking. He said, I guess what happened, he asked somebody about it and they looked at it and they're like, you know what, next time use 2 pieces of tape. I'm going to tell you, I paid all that money for that book. If I end up with a freaking catalog, I'm going to be mad.
Imagine wanting the carpet catalog and getting Bigfoot Bill. You look at it, it's like, well, that's an interesting carpet.
Oh, yeah, and you know what? I was talking to my wife about it. She said she would laugh about it, especially knowing now what the deal is. And I guess it's happened to like 25 people out of 2,000 that he sent out. But my wife said I would laugh about it, but I would be like, no, I paid all that money. I'd be pissed. And then as soon as I called him or whatever, or talked to him, I'd be like, hey, this needs to be taken care of. And he sent, I know he's got some replacement books and stuff. And once I got that, then I'd be okay with it. But right off the bat, and I don't know, I want to say it's not his fault, but if he's only got 1 piece of tape, and that seems to be what the problem is, then I guess technically, I mean, the buck ends with him, whoever stuck 1 piece of tape on it.
Yeah, he went through a fulfillment center.
Yeah, so I guess it would be the fulfillment center's fault.
Yeah, well, yes and no. With that type of stuff, you still take blame for it.
Well, yeah, you have to, because you're ultimately the one in charge of it.
I'll just blame it on Bob.
Now, I've seen advertisements for these little the little dolls. You know, I'm talking about the little mannequin dolls. You can pose them.
Yeah.
Have you ever used any of those? Are those any good? I know some people say it makes ultimately it looks like it's traced. It makes it look stiff.
I've never seen anyone actually use one.
Okay. They look cool to play with. They come with little weapons and stuff. Some of them.
Well, no, as far as I know, like almost every artist gets one at one time,
Mm-hmm.
and they have them there, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm gonna use this." It's like it seems like a great tool, and then you go, and it's like, "Yeah, I can just pose it," and it's like great because then I can do this, and then you just never use it.
Again, I would probably play with it more than I would use it for drawing. Because again, I've seen the one that comes with like guns and swords and all kinds of stuff, and it would probably distract me. I would take and then you get like the female one and the male one, and then you get super distracted, and then you're like, all right, no, no, now they're not fighting anymore.
Yeah,
Let's see.
I'd rather use a 3D model, but I mean for a reference, but
Mm-hmm. To each his own, I guess.
like you have to be proficient at moving things around in 3D modelers. So, and I don't think most people can do that well.
Mm-hmm. What do we see another picture? Move my hand out of the way. See, I'm looking. I can see the I can see the chat in one screen, and then to see in real time, I have to switch my screen over to look at the live chat that I'm broadcasting from. Oh, Paul says I'm gonna crash out, man. Keep up the great work. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Alrighty, I'll see you later, Paul.
Peace,
Uh,
Paul, who I don't know.
he's the other artist. He's one of the artists I'm working with, or the artist I'm working with. He's a good guy. Uh, he does really good work. I'm gonna have him on here, and we're gonna talk about at some point. We're gonna actually talk about the projects we're working on together. Oh, Paul says I got a set of those action figure mannequin things. They fell apart. I would guess even if you get a good one, after a while, all the joints get all wiggly and loose.
There's always something about them that's messed up.
Yeah.
So
You
you
know what they
don't
used
use them, or they break apart, or something always happens to them.
Yeah. All right. Good night, Paul. They used to have this thing called stick fuzz, and basically that's where they were. There was almost like they weren't really Lego people, but it was they were fully posable, and it was kind of like those little models, and they had like you could get a fireman one or a police one or a samurai one. I used to have one, and I don't anymore. And they came in all different. Oh, look, Abe Sapien. Hey, all. He broke his right after taking it out of the package. Hey, Abe. Hey, for everybody that hasn't, well, the medal's here. He subscribes and likes me every single time. But I don't know if you haven't subscribed to me, go ahead, give me a subscribe. Check out my Instagram page. Well, there's nothing on my Instagram page right now that's of real importance, that's relevant. But I'll probably get a picture of this tonight, and I'll stick it on my Instagram page with a little explanation of what's going on. So we're going to be tracking my progress on my Instagram page a little bit. Now, I didn't have a Zevo Save Sapien. I remember having Stick Fuzz, and they discontinued them, the Stick Fuzz, and they were really cool. I remember that when they stopped making them, they had a bunch of them at like Toys R Us. They were on clearance, and I kicked myself for not buying them all up. They were actually a fun little like you could basically build your own action figure toy.
Don't think I remember those.
They weren't super popular, and like I said, the only time I discovered them when this thing was when they were on clearance, and they were getting rid of them after they were discontinued. The Dragon Rider. You know what? I had the Dragon Rider. That's the one I had, and I always when I saw it, I wanted to get the the samurai, but I don't think I ended up buying that one. I think I might have had the firefighter, but for sure, I'm almost positive I had the dragon one.
Hey, you want to know how to draw a foot like facing forward?
Yeah.
All you have to do is draw a Hershey's kiss.
Oh, that's kind of interesting.
And you just cut off the top part, you know, the weird,
Yeah, the
the
pointy
pointy
bit.
part. That's pretty much all you have to do.
That's more or less what I'm going for. All right, you can see the hands holding the little sword thing. Again, now how do you, like, you can see right at this area, it's getting real busy. Eventually, there's going to be his little gi pajama thing at the top, the belt. Right now, there's this little sword thing. This is probably going to be shorter. Off my Ninja Turtle memories. Let's see. And I might just even stick a small. I want to stick a second one, but that seems to me again, for me, like it's kind of busy right in here. And I guess it all comes out in the inks and colors and stuff. See?
Yeah, but what you end up doing is you use color. For
Mm-hmm.
me, is that you make the sword like the wood you would color, and then you would just contrast that against the black of the belt,
Yeah.
and then that would be contrasted against the white of the gi, and so
Okay.
the sword like picks up.
Yeah.
So
And I don't know if I'm gonna color this today. If I even get to the fleshy part. Well, we'll try. We'll try to get to the fleshy part. My little art supply box. When I was in the Navy, here I'm gonna do this and have y'all have a look. It's gonna get a little shaky here for a minute. This is my art supply box. Let me switch my view here. So this is my art supply box. If let's see,
I remember that stuff.
I got this in Haiti when I was in the Navy. We went to Haiti, and it was before that. It was like years before the earthquake, but I think they still had some political craziness going on. And our boat pulled in there and did some guys did some charity work. That place was so freaking nasty. I didn't even leave the boat. I didn't want to go anywhere near it. I didn't want to go anywhere near land. We were only there for a couple of days, so I'm like, you know what? For this little stop, I'll just stay on the boat. But there were guys that they pulled up their boats and they were selling weird little stuff, and I'm like, oh, I'll get one of these boxes. So I call it the Haitian curse box. And I think I scared my kids one time calling it the Haitian curse box. I'm like, oh, I opened it and the curse came out, and now I got to carry the box around wherever I go, and that's the curse of the curse boxes. I have to carry the box around until we can put the curse back in the box. So
Oh, that's
joking, I mean,
nice.
yeah, they're all old. They're older now and they know better, but that's my 6-year-old still doesn't fully understand the reference. So we kind of joke around. We joke around. We said, no, no, no. There's no more curses. There's no curses here. Let me see. Hopefully, we can get this camera back to where it was, and not. So you can see like the light. I have it hooked up kind of funky here.
Are you attached to your phone or?
No, here we go. Here we go. No, that's a webcam.
Uh,
All right, so that should work. The light's out of the way. Where we go.
yeah, basically what would end up happening here with regards to your question of like it gets a little bit messy and cluttered and all like that.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the lines that you're drawing would be blue line.
Yes, that's what I didn't get at the store was blue pencil, and I was actually thinking about that.
Yeah, and most people would just like draw over that and ignore the blue.
Yeah,
So
that's actually I completely forgot when I was at the store. I was gonna get some blue. Let me see.
But to be honest, that's a cheat.
There's no such thing as cheating.
It's a cheat. When I
I'm
was learning to draw, I drew with pens.
trying to think. Would he have his hand? He would not.
Yeah, it's funny
You
that
would draw with pens? No, I couldn't do that. I'm gonna tell you right now.
yeah.
I'm gonna cheat like crazy. I'm not drawing with pens. I'm gonna draw with pencil and ink over it. I
Well,
don't
when you're
care. I
young, you
don't.
want to draw. If you have pens, you draw with pens.
Well, I know you do use what you have. I mean, I'm just saying. I don't. I'm not that brave. Not with my early stuff. Not with while I'm still learning. I have to fix my broken stuff. I have to fix stuff over and over again.
Well, see,
Eventually,
that's
I'll go digital. Probably. We'll see.
the way in which you learn impacts how you think about your drawing.
Mm-hmm.
Like for you, you're always thinking, well, I can just erase that. So that's okay if I do that. Whereas with a pen, you're like, well, I can't erase that. So that better be working, or I better figure out a way to make it work.
Yeah, I can see that. So all digital is cheating then, because you can like actually move the face around and bend the lines how you want. We're gonna get into the digital artists aren't real artists.
Yeah, digital artists aren't real artists, not at all.
Obviously, if you're a digital artist, I'm not looking at the chat right now. Obviously, if you're a digital artist, I do believe you're a real artist. I don't think there's really cheats. And I mean, there are certain things. I mean, you can cheat on your taxes, and you can cheat on tests. But in real life, if you can find something that makes it easier and is legal, then it's not a cheat. Let's see. Oh, Abe's being nice. He says it looks great. I don't know if he's talking about your picture or my picture.
He wasn't here while any of my pictures were up.
Oh, okay. Let's see. My Instagram. Let's see. Metal says my Instagram is the most boring page because all I ever post are lower res previews of my webcomic telling you to go visit the site to see the new page. Abe Sapien, I assume, is talking about the Stickfoot, says he wanted the robot with the articulated hand. Again, he's being nice, saying it looks great. Blue Box Pen were my favorite back in the day. Great range. Metal says it's not brave when you just use shadows to cover your mistakes. So, well, if that were true, my whole picture is going to be in shadow. Let's see. How would he be holding it? I guess we'll put the wrist here. So his thumb would be there roughly.
Guess somewhere in that region of pencil swipes that you showed just then on screen.
Yeah, yeah.
You just covered like 2/3 of the page with pencil swipes. Like, sure, somewhere in there.
Yeah, so exactly. And I'll shade right there. That'll cover up the mistakes. Let's see. All right. I don't know how much I'm going to flesh this one out today. See what I get to. What time is it right now? 4:30. I got a couple of hours before I have to get to bed. So we'll try to be brave today. We try to get something done, but as far as fleshing it.
Well, it's not like with regards to cheating. It's sort of cheating because you're not doing what people are thinking you're doing, and there's rules to stuff.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's cheating in that way. But the real rule is that as long as you don't get caught, or as long as people think it looks good, or whatever, like there's always that rule. As long as, then you're fine. It's not cheating.
Zach did a review of a Batman comic recently, and on the cover, like the only thing actually drawn out by hand on the cover was Batman in one little section. And the rest of it, he said, he was like, oh, obviously what happened was this guy took a photo of a cityscape or whatever. And I don't know if Trace did or made it look drawn through digital means or whatever. And he's like, but you know what? He's like, that's what he did just by looking at it. But then he said, but it looks good. So even though obviously that's what he did, it accomplished what it needed to accomplish. But if everything you draw is obviously traced from a photograph, then I would almost consider that cheating.
Peace, Ape Sapien.
Oh, he's going to slit. All right. Did you already subscribe? You better subscribe. I don't know if you're subscribed already. Probably is.
Well, if everything looks like it came like you tracing it, I
Mm-hmm.
think that's fine.
Well,
If it does what you want it to do, then you're good.
but if it's obvious that you did trace it, like is it Richard? I don't know. I want to say Pace, but it may not be Richard Pace. Oh, my camera moved again. Richard Pace, and I don't like. Maybe it might not be Richard Pace. It was somebody else who's kind of famous for photo referencing porn stars and stuff.
Well,
And the thing of it is everybody's like, well, yeah, we saw that picture online. We saw he's using pictures that everybody's seen. Everybody knows exactly what photo he's referencing, and he uses like the same photo a lot. I can't remember who it was, but I just thought that was kind of funny. That's
well,
what this guy's known for.
so there are things that people say they can tell, but they can't.
Well,
Like,
this particular guy,
yeah, I
I
know.
guess,
Yeah.
got caught. Everybody knows it, but like I said, if you can get away with it and it looks good, but if all of a sudden everybody's like, "Oh, we're on to you," then like in your mind, if you know you're onto them, like, "Oh, now I know it," then it kind of changes how you look at it on the page. You know what I'm saying? As a viewer, as somebody who reads the comic, like if I know if I'm like, "Wow, this guy's drawing is really cool," and then I find out, oh, every single picture is a traced photograph from something. Then I'm thinking, oh, this guy isn't as talented as I thought he was, and it kind of changes psychologically. I mean, the pictures all look the same, but psychologically, it kind of changes the view. What you look.
Okay, well, to get you into maybe a little trouble,
Oh,
uh,
I'm totally gonna be in trouble. I know it.
there's a picture of I think the character's name is Zashi, and a picture of the female character in Graveyard Shift.
Oh, yep,
They're the
absolutely.
same picture.
Oh, I know. I know exactly what picture you're talking about. I know. I noticed that right off the bat.
Now that's obvious. He didn't trace it, but it's the same pose. It's the same. It's not the same character. It's the same everything about it except for the minor details of the character.
Yeah, that guy sucks, and he can't draw hands to save his life.
It's like now that's equivalent to Tracy in my mind.
Yeah, I don't know if he. I don't know if he. I mean, you could say either he photo referenced, maybe not. I don't know, but he definitely went to the same well for the pose.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
also don't have a problem with it
No, I
either.
don't. I don't either. They both looked really good, but it is something I looked at. I'm like, oh, yep. I mean, obviously, he went to the same well. I don't know if he just liked that pose, or if he was already working on something else. As oh, well, I already got this. I'm drawing this page. No, it works for this page too. So I mean, it's not that big. Like, it depends. I mean, it's kind of a sliding scale. Maybe it sounds like I'm making excuses for him. They do like the guy. So,
Well, no,
but
here's the trick: is that there are artists that get stuck with one pose, and they
mm-hmm.
can't get past one pose ever.
Really,
Yeah, they'll be able to draw that one pose. It's so great, but as soon as you're like, "Well, draw this," no, just make it a full front picture. Just make it a profile picture. Nope, they can only do like 3/4 picture.
yeah,
Everything else, garbage. Now there are other people that go, they get past that, but they only extend it by going, I can do 5 poses, I can do 10 poses. And they get lots of work. They just hide it cleverly.
Let's see. I'm gonna look and see how far off my proportion is here for head sizes.
Oh, that's way off. So
Oh yeah, he's a huge head, huge cartoony head. So we're gonna
it should
go.
be about half as big.
Yeah, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 5.5, and I think it's supposed to be 7. Is it 7 or 8?
For heroic, it's 8.
It gets 8. I know because my manga book I think was only 7. I could be wrong, but I know I'm getting the Marvel drawing comics the Marvel way, and I'm pretty sure for sure they say 8.
Yeah, for actual, it's like 5.
All right. Well, actual then he's only supposed to be a kid, so we'll use that excuse. The head does look huge on him though,
And if you're
proportionally.
going with Wolverine, it's supposed to be like 3.
Yeah. Let's see. So.
But no, that's why you don't want to draw the same pose over and over again
Hmm.
because you get stuck in that one pose.
Yeah. And I wouldn't all. The only reason I drew these two the same was because I was more or less trying to draw the same picture. So, I mean, but I wouldn't do the Captain Morgan pose the whole time.
Yeah, and there's even like a trick to scaling things.
Hmm.
You grid it out.
You grid it out.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I think I see where they draw the lines at certain spots.
Well, no, you create a grid
Uh
and
huh.
you put a grid over the thing, and then you can take the grid and expand it or to however big you want it. And then because that, when you look at the grid,
Hmm.
you look at the lines inside the grid rather than trying to draw the entire picture, and that allows you to blow it up accurately.
Huh. I might try that at some point. Let's see. The medal says only tracing genitals counts as cheating. The only anatomy that matters. Uh, yeah, I trace mine a lot bigger than they actually are. All depends on the style. Charlie Brown's head, yeah, between third and fourth of the body. Yeah, and if you're going for like a super cartoony style, I think the heads are always bigger when you're going for like for comic strips and that kind of stuff. This one, I'm not trying to go super cartoony. I'm trying to do a little bit with the proportion. So obviously, I need to work on either making a smaller head or making a taller body. So yeah, I mean, it's like I said, this is where I'm beginning at. So I'm still in the early learning phases. I got this cartoon book here. I'll probably, and just so you know, I'll probably do stuff like a hand study. Like one night, I'll just draw a bunch of hands in different positions, different ways. And then maybe, I don't know how much you can do with feet, but maybe I'll do that with feet. I'll be doing it with faces, with eyes. Eventually, for everybody in the chat to look forward to, I'm going to have a boob day where I'm just going to draw boobs. And I think that'll be a fun stream. I'll just be drawing boobs in different proportions all day on just a whole page full of boobs. But we'll keep them covered up for the kiddies. It'll still be child friendly.
Yay, fun.
The kids who are, friendly towards boobs. So we will definitely have that day or have that stream. Everybody's going to want to participate. Let's see. That's
Yeah, and the thing is with like I do all the proportions based on intuition. A lot
mm-hmm.
like and my intuition with proportions is really good. The problem is like if you took my idea of proportions, you go, well, you can do it by intuition, so why not everyone? It's like, well, it, like,
With your intuition probably comes a little bit of experience, right?
well, see, that's the thing is that my intuition seems like it's a natural thing to me now,
Mm-hmm.
but that's only because I know and I remember. Like I used to draw like Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles, and that was before I ever even thought about proportions like that.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Like when I don't know. Did you watch the last one I did? The last stream I did?
No.
Oh, well, I'll embarrass myself again. I'm going to show you a little bit of what I did because this is an old sketchbook that I used in high school. So I was probably 15 or 16 when I did some of these pictures here. So I'm going to embarrass myself again for those that didn't see that stream. The medal was there. He saw it. Here is. I don't remember drawing Keanu Reeves. Let's see. Hold on. Let's go live with that. It's going to take a second to catch up on the regular stream, but
Oh,
there we go.
yeah, I switched to the thing.
Yeah, I don't remember drawing Keanu Reeves or why I would have, but apparently I did. I sketched his face.
That's
Like I
pretty
said,
good.
yeah, I don't remember doing that, but yeah. Let's see.
Well,
Here's
at least
a.
the face part is the hair kind of sucks, but
Oh yeah,
everyone sucks at hair. I suck at hair.
yeah. That's and I don't remember. Like I said, if I was drawing from a photograph, oh, I had to have had a reference because I know for sure I couldn't have just drawn his face from memory, so I must have had some kind of reference. This is in charcoal. Here's basic, and a lot of the stuff I did was kind of like what would you call it? Like me kind of having fun with stuff.
That
As
looks
far as
good. Looks
no,
something like what you would find in Simpsons.
yeah, this is it's I called it Captain. It says Captain Super right above him, so it was basically like a parody type thing. I was just trying to draw a generic superhero. My daughter doesn't like the cape. She's like, capes don't do that. She went through here. Let's
You
see.
haven't seen Spawn.
Yeah, exactly. This one's really light. You can't really see it, but this was another kind of character I did. Very Ninja Turtle inspired. He was like this weird. It was like a post-apocalyptic mutant kind of thing. He has the three fingers on one hand, like the Ninja Turtles, and then like
Looks
four
a little
fingers on
bit
the
like
other hand.
Casey Jones.
Yeah, a little bit. He's got this like headband thing. That metal thing is almost very shreddery, obviously, but in his background, that's actually attached to his skull. Like he kind of wake. It's one of those. Oh, I lost my memory. I don't know who I am, and he wakes up
I
with
don't
this.
know why this was attached to my skull.
Yeah, I've got this thing.
Yourself, but
Yeah, it's directly a part of his skull. So this one, my son was totally making fun of. Uh, you can see he's got like kind of a jumpy pose and stuff. And we're gonna go into. You're talking about that one pose. Yeah, you're gonna see it in this. The one pose I was trying, and you'll see exactly why. Let's see if you look right here. Like my son pointed out, it's got a front sight, but I put the magazine on top because I thought that was kind of cool. And my son was straight up. He was like, "How is he going to use that front sight with the magazine right there?" Let's see. All right, so here, not on this page, but the next page, you're going to see the one pose thing. All right, this was one of my big influences. I used to love the Max, and almost a lot of the rest of these sketches, some of the rest of these sketches are all Max references. It's all Max in different iterations. I actually drew one. I remember drawing one as a kid, and I had, instead of the Max, I said it was the woodchuck, and he had 2 teeth instead of the 4. Let's see. Another one real quick. Here's another. See, I did the same pose, only with the other character.
that's a horrific pose.
Oh, it's terrible. I was terrible at it.
It's like 2 giant butt cheeks.
Oh yeah, and like I said, I never finished it. All these were kind of half-assed, so you can't see any feet. There's no like shading or whatever. You can see I kind of made the attempt at shading, and there's one later on where it almost looks good. Yeah, right there. It kind of I almost kind of got it a little bit. I don't know if I was referencing something. Instead of trying to use line, I was trying to use shadow or whatever. That's, I mean, that's obviously out of proportion and all this other stuff, but that's almost kind of neat. That one, I almost kind of like that one. Here's the Max's Batman, and I think there's like 3 more pictures of the Max's Batman. There's another one, and see, here's another one doing the pose. Only now he's got the Batman cape. So that's this. You were talking about the pose. That's the pose. At least when I was high school. You know what? I think my daughter tried to convince me that I did these in high school. I definitely did not draw that. There's another little hand with a gun. I think my daughter was using my sketchbook. And now we're back to today. Yeah, so that was I think probably if I had gone to art school out of high school, I probably would be decent right now.
Probably.
If I had just kept at it. I just didn't keep at it. But we'll see. We'll keep at it now. I'm actually going to log hours. I'm going to say, all right, I've drawn for this many hours and keep track. So I've started tonight. We'll see how long this live stream is. I'll just log it as however many hours I've been working. And then after a year, like I'm not going to be able to obviously do this 8 hours a day because I got a full-time job. So it might be 15 minutes some days, it might be an hour some days, and some days like tonight, when I get the time, it's going to be 3 or 4 hours. So that's we'll see what happens after a year. We'll definitely come back to this picture and say, okay, how much have I improved since then? My proportions and all that stuff. Perspective. I'm going to have to do a day of perspective, just learning to do that. Probably more than a day, because I'm sure that takes some real work to get down.
Yeah, it does. You'll always mess it up.
Yeah.
Everyone does. This is my oldest drawing that I have. It was obviously sometime around like freshman year of high school.
See, that's better than what I was doing. And
Yeah,
it's Pokemon characters, I assume.
yeah, and it's obviously copied from uh the pictures are copied, like visually copied. I didn't trace it.
Okay. Yeah, just yeah. And it's on notebook paper, traditional notebook paper, just like the pros use.
Supposed to be.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when I was kindergarten, maybe a little older. Whenever they'd send us home with like homework, little like you equate your do your +1 +2 +3, the answer them all, the real simple pages. We'd always save Me and my friends would always save the homework page, and then because the back was just white paper, so it was free white paper, and you'd draw whatever little stuff you would draw on the back of it, dinosaurs or monsters or spaceships or whatever. And we used to do that on the back of our homework papers. And then one time I turned a homework paper in that had that in the back, and the teacher was like, "No, you can't do that."
Roboto.
It's like Spidey Robot.
Yeah, I drew these in college while I was bored in their math class. So that was.
Don't dox yourself.
No, I don't think any of that stuff is in here. These are all old. Oh, there's the Super Vegeta. Thumbnails. Let's see. No, nothing is in here that can do that, I don't think. Pretty sure.
That's not what that's gonna look like, because the way the angle is, should look more like that, I would think. So we're looking head on at it. Starting to put a little bit of clothes on him. What do you got going on in the background?
What? Me?
Yeah. Are you using your phone?
No. You must be hearing the click of my mouse.
No, it's not a click. It sounds like something pounding, like in the background.
There's nothing pounding.
It could. No, it's not like really loud. It could just be the kind of background.
Are you talking about this?
No, like I said, it doesn't sound like clicking, and it could just be like audio feedback, sort of. Not feedback, like I'm not hearing like my voice double or anything. I hear like a pa 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 pa, and I think it's just your kind of the background audio. Not like there's something pounding in the background, but just the way the audio is coming through, whatever it's being digitized or however.
Huh, that's weird.
Maybe it's ghosts. Start talking ghosts, make it the ghost show.
There you go. There's a knight.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I woke up in the middle of the night to drew that. Like, I don't know why. I just like woke up and I was like, why can't I go back to sleep? And I just drew it.
I will do that with some story ideas. Usually, I'm more of a writer than an artist, so I'll get some story ideas, and those will bounce around my head and keep me awake.
Yeah, I'm like a world creator, and like really everything that I've ever done is more in service of that stuff. So,
I've started writing, or not writing, just some of the ideas that are kind of bouncing around. Uh, the more I like, I've had several ideas that I haven't written down yet, and I need to. And the more I think about them and start doing background on it, I realize that I'll come up with one idea, and then I'll say, "Oh, this is a completely different story." But then since they all come out of the same head, I'll be like, "Oh, they're so easy to just link at some point later on, where these two stories could totally link together." And then eventually that would be, I guess that's part of the universe building that people do, as you do. And then it's like, oh, I had this character who's a completely different story, but I can totally see how this character and this character would react and do different stuff.
oh yeah, I can link like I have several different universes built up, and I can link them all, but I just don't.
Yeah, I don't usually. I'm not all about really like building one universe, but like I said, the stories that I've been thinking about, like I have one story that's totally going to be total grindhouse, and it's like hot chicks fighting werewolves, and they're all on, and they're hot biker chicks fighting werewolves. And then I have another story that's just like it's kind of like a action comedy kind of thing, and and it's about this guy who's like total blue collar, like beer, beer and beer and football with his buddies on weekends, that kind of thing. And he accidentally discovers uh he while he's at work, he's either a sewer worker or he works at a like for the transit department. So it'd be something that would make him work underground tunnels as his regular job. And he accidentally stumbles upon this guy about to sacrifice his girl, and he stops it and again accidentally gets like supernatural powers, and he has no idea how to deal with it because he's never read stuff like Lord of the Rings. That wasn't ever his thing. That was all geeky stuff he's never been into. And he's not a mean guy, he's not stupid or anything, but it's just that's not his wheelhouse at all. And it turns out the girl he saved is an elf. And now she knows he has the power, and she's like, "We have to go fight monsters now, basically. You have to come with me to help because you have these powers, you have to use them to help me fight monsters." He's like, "I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I don't know anything about any of this stuff." And so basically it's him kind of now he has to kind of learn all about this kind of stuff. So the elf girl kind of helps him out, and then he meets another guy they meet another guy while they're fighting called Dr. Werewolf. And then they meet one of the kind of interesting world lore stuff is he accidentally in that first encounter where he accidentally gets the powers, he saves a goblin. And the problem with that for the goblin is if you save a goblin or you do anything at all to help a goblin, there's a curse on all the goblins. Now they have to be your servant. They have to work with you because you helped them. And it's why generally goblins live in dark caves and stuff, because they don't want to be around people or elves because of that curse. because they know if somebody helps them even accidentally, the curse is now they have to be their servant. And before they went underground into the caves, they were like a slave race. They used them as slaves, and it goes back further and stuff. So goblins and elves don't like each other because there was like this big war between them. So that's part of the. I don't want to make that what the whole comic is about, but that's kind of the background of the two characters. So now they have to work together, but they don't really like each other. And the elf is a wicked racist when it comes to ogres and goblins and that kind of stuff. And so he has no idea what this is all about. He's like, "Man, I don't want this goblin. He doesn't have any like ill feelings towards the goblin in particular, but in his head, it's like you just go away, and the goblin can't go away. So now he has to deal with him. So he tries to be nice to him, and they ask the goblin his name, and the elf's like, goblins don't have names; they're just goblins. So now he has to think of a name for him, and he starts treating him like a regular person, and so the goblin becomes less goblin-y. No, that will come along with the whole story. But there's a whole background as far as as far as world building or whatever. That's the whole history between goblins and elves and the quote unquote noble races versus the kind of animalistic races, and there's a very fine line between them, that kind of stuff. So that's way more detail than than for a simple, because I was going to call it, the name of the comics going to be called Monster Brawl, because he's not some kind of like fancy karate guy. He's just a brawler. So when he fights these monsters, he just has this super strength and just kind of punches and kicks and throws them around, and he would be the guy that would hit him with a beer bottle if that would work.
Oh. Should damage them all. Kill them all.
And so that would link in with the girls that fighting werewolves. And I had one of the other stories I'm writing could be a total side story of that character discovering about, because she doesn't fight where the other character in the third story wouldn't fight werewolves or anything. She fights like ninjas and terrorists and that kind of thing. But discovering that there's now a world of monsters would be like, oh great, now more bad guys I gotta fight. All right, we'll go back and we'll see.
Yeah, you see that chalk picture?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what fucked up my life. Literally the thing that fucked up my life.
How did that F up your life?
That's the drawing that I left in my in the classroom. It was for a final.
Mm-hmm.
I turned back to go grab it, and I slipped and fell on like black ice.
Oh.
Fucked up my right leg and my back.
Oh, that sucks. So you blame the picture?
Obviously. It's kind of messed up to have that.
Yeah. Well, there was where I work, a lot of times it gets, I mean, obviously everywhere gets icy, but this one guy, he fell out one day, and he was out for a couple of years. He couldn't work the regular shift. They had to put him on light duty. I think my daughter's got the radio on. I can hear singing or music somewhere in the background. Not in the background of my ears, but in my house. Yeah, my daughter's listening to something downstairs, or she should be sleeping. She probably fell asleep listening to it. All right, let's give this guy a face, huh? Let's see. His ears, probably because he's kind of facing there. Ear, it's gonna be here roughly somewhere. And eyes are supposed to be equal distance apart, right? We're going to have a definite eye day where I learn how to do eyes.
Eyes are fun.
We'll do manga eyes and we'll do regular eyes. This little cartooning book, I don't know if you saw the one I showed earlier.
No.
I'll show you here in a second. It was actually written in like the 1960s, and it's cartooning the head and form and stuff. So it's more for doing that's right. You showed me that before, right? Was it you that did that? The coloring? Was I talking to you about that?
No, but I don't think I showed you this before. Since
did you put it on Twitter?
Yeah, I put it on Twitter. Oh yeah.
And we were talking about the coloring, and you said we're talking about the boobs.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that looks really good, by the way. I really do like that. I obviously haven't seen the line work before the coloring, but
you haven't seen the line work for it?
Oh, I never saw. I don't know. I didn't when he did it. I didn't see just the line work before it was colored. Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's Mike Miller, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it looks good like that, but I think you colored it really well. Some Lobo. Lobo's got to be like 10 heads tall, right?
Oh,
Because he's got something going on with his like shoulders are humongous,
yeah, I
and
don't know what the
he's
heck.
got the little bitty waist, and most of the things you see him, and that's damn, I can never remember the artist's name that does the books for that. Uh, that did the original artwork. He draws a lot like Sam Keith, that kind of over the top style. And that's looked really good. That's Kyung Lee, right?
Yeah, I do a lot of Kyung Lee ones. That's Render Contender. He drives me nuts. Yeah, I don't want to say anything bad about him, but he drives me nuts.
Right. Actually, is this coming across me? You know what? Let's look in the chat. Switch to me. See how it looks. If this looks right in the chat, because when I look at it on the broadcast page, anything I put. Let's see if this how fast this lag is. Should be a couple of minutes. When I'm looking at it, everything looks backwards. But I think in the chat there, okay, so it comes up forward in the chat. So I guess Hangouts, my camera on the computer mirrors it, and I think Hangouts mirrors it back. All right.
I forget how it all works.
Yeah. So here's this is the I'm not working off of this today. I'm not doing any lessons today, but this is cartooning the head and figure, and not this book, but Jack Ham. I looked in the bibliography for drawing the Marvel way. Jack Ham is one of the names in the bibliography, as is Horvath and Hogarth. Hogarth, I think that's it. And I got a couple of Hogarth books coming in for dynamic anatomy and hand drawing and stuff. And this book's really neat because it's all about cartooning. So, and there's some, more realistic stuff as well. Like it's basic simple shapes becoming a person. But then if the more you look at it, the more lessons you do. You see some square boobs kind of stuff. But like you'll see like the little X for the body. And like I said, this is all simple cartooning as opposed to more, photorealistic stuff.
Yeah, honestly, it's probably better to go that route, anyways.
Yeah, to start anyway. And there's a whole section in here at the beginning, when the camera doesn't bump around too much.
Well, it's not just the start. I mean, because the really what you want to do is you want to start with like life art kind
Mm-hmm.
of type stuff, as close to life drawing stuff as you can. But once you get that stuff, like you want to go to cartooning
Mm-hmm.
because cartooning teaches you all the stuff that you actually need to create dynamic stuff.
Yeah. So let's see. I'm not gonna do a whole lot of still lifes. I probably won't be drawing oranges on my table or anything like that. I'll be focusing more on anatomy and that kind of stuff. Here, look, there's a whole bunch of it's just hair, and it's like, okay, this is women's stuff. There's men's hair. Let's see, there's a whole section on beards and stuff like that. But there's a whole section. I mean, if you look, they got cartoon mouths, and so it's all just different ways to draw the mouth. And here's cartoon eyes. Cartoon eyes. It's all just different ways to draw eyes. So this is actually a really neat book. It's old. A lot of this stuff, but probably the guy who wrote this has been drawing since the 30s and 40s. So I'll probably be doing some lessons out of that at some point.
Yeah, who's that by?
Jack Ham.
Yeah, I know that name from somewhere.
He's done other books, and he's I guess his big thing is cartooning, and I assume he used to be an art teacher as well. And like I said, in the Marvel How to Draw the Marvel Way, one of his books is in the bibliography. So he's at least known among those guys, Buscema and not Jim Lee, Stan Lee. So apparently he was highly referenced for especially comic book cartoon drawing, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because if you like look at a lot of the Marvel books and the stuff that teaches you how to draw,
Hmm.
it won't actually teach you how to draw.
They teach you
Because,
like when they it's like okay, now that they assume you know a certain amount.
well, no, it teaches like what they teach you in the teaching you how to draw stuff is the more along the lines of being accurate.
Hmm.
And being accurate isn't being accurate. Because the way that we think and we see things is more along the lines of cartooning. So they got things like a thing where it's like break the bone, where you're breaking the character's bones
Hmm.
if they had the bones, but
Because the
it
way they're
looks more
positioned and stuff.
realistic because it's because that's the energy and how it actually looks.
Hmm.
So to do things that are realistic doesn't look realistic to us.
From a cartoon perspective.
No, from like if you just look at it, like when you're drawing something and you look at something drawn accurately,
Hmm.
because of the way that the body moves, it doesn't look right to us.
Huh.
If so, you have to do like all these little things that, like accurate wise, it's not right, but it looks right.
Hmm. Well, I was talking to my wife the other day. There's a thing like when you see a dead body in a TV show, or when they're doing like an autopsy on a TV show, the way they model the dead body is actually different than how a real dead body looks because on TV and the way they do it, a real dead body doesn't look real. It looks more realistic when they do it the fake way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When they do their dead body model, they make it a little bit different. I don't know if they make it grosser or there's a certain thing that they do because if you were theoretically to put a real dead body on the table for a TV show, people wouldn't think it looked real. It would look kind of, I don't want to say goofy. It would look off to the point where people like that's not realistic, even though it's the actual thing.
Yeah. And I forget why that's the case, but it is the case.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I was just like I said, I was just having that almost exact discussion with the wife. I don't know why my phone doesn't update the chat.
It's just the bad the applications are bad. That's
There we
never
go. Oh,
good.
you know what? If I click out of the chat and then back in, Metal says he's hopping on for boob day. That's coming. I'll probably I'm gonna pitch that like every on every show. I'm gonna be like, stand by. Pretty soon we're gonna have boob day. Boob days are coming. Let's see. I might have to. Yeah, I might have to actually on my phone jump out of chat and jump back on. Let's see. Let's make it wider.
Yeah, with these color stuff, sometimes I get like it's unexpected, like the tweets and retweets that I get with some of these.
But you never know what catches people's attention. I'll make some funny little quip, and I'll think it's hilarious, and like nobody will even like acknowledge it. And then I'll make something. I'll just make just a little offhand comment, and it'll get retweeted like 50 times or something.
Yeah, I've taken to paying attention to who retweets and all like that.
There's certain people that retweet me more than other people. That's not a judgment on anybody. That's just
Oh, it's a judgment on my end.
it's just observation. I know that there are a few people, and I appreciate it. It's not like I don't think it's a negative thing at all. It's just observation. I know there's certain people that retweet me more than other people.
Well, here's the thing: is like I'm part of the reason why I'm doing the coloring thing
Hmm.
is so I can advertise my shit.
Well, that's why I'm doing the the total drawing thing.
Yeah,
Is just because I don't. I'm trying to build my following a little bit, and I wanted to do that. I figured Instagram. I'll need an Instagram page, and you can't post writing stuff on Instagram because
yeah,
I mean, so I have to start making pictures that people kind of maybe want to see before before I can start posting stuff on Instagram because it's basically for photos and drawings and things.
yeah. And so like when I post something and you don't give me a retweet or anything like that, then I'm like, well, okay, well, fuck you. It's like I just did all this work.
Oh, you mean like if you post somebody's work that you've just colored?
Yeah, it's like I just did all this work and I'm not gonna get anything out of it, or if it's someone's work,
Hmm.
like, well, there's no point in me going to do that anymore then. So
Well, if do you have an Instagram? Do you post stuff up on Instagram?
no. Well,
See
I think I have Instagram, but
if you do and you start that I mean you can straight up say this was Mike Miller line drawing that I colored, and it's a way to say, hey, look, this is stuff. This is what I'm doing. It's still showing, even though it's not your original stuff. It's still showing off what you can do
yeah.
with the colors. That Instagram is probably the best way to do that kind of stuff. Building an Instagram following because that's all it is. It's all focused on pictures.
Yeah, but I'm just saying for like retweeting stuff like that
Yeah,
stuff. It's like, come on, dude. It's like this is also your thing too. Like
I never.
I don't see
Yeah,
any reason why you wouldn't retweet something that's showing off your art.
I don't know. You never know. You obviously you tag him in it. I don't know. He could be he's busy. Could be because I know he's I never try to wonder what people are doing with their own time. So I just never. I mean, I understand. I completely understand where you're coming from, but I never try to like figure out. Okay, well, why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do that? I can only focus on what I can do and what I can control.
Yeah, with that stuff, I generally know what's happening, so
Hmm.
I'm just going to ignore that for right now. But in general, I'm like, there's no reason for you not to repost stuff, and I'm going to keep a mental note of it because there's no point in me putting it there if it's not going to get retweeted. So, like, what's his name? Passion for Drawing.
Hmm.
He has Menagerie, Mythsars Menagerie, or whatever.
Yeah, the coloring book.
Yeah, yeah. So I was gonna color every single one of the things that he has on his page, and I
Uh
did
huh.
the first one, and he didn't retweet it. I'm like, dude, I even put the link in your thing in it, which I haven't done for anyone. It's like, why wouldn't you do that? That took like an extensive amount of time because those coloring pages are actually like detailed.
Uh huh.
Like, well, I'm not gonna spend like 6, 7 hours on a page and get nothing out of it. I'd rather do something that takes like 2 hours, looks way better, and I get a retweet and I get a lot bigger audience.
All right. I
It's
got
just a
some.
matter of efficiency and practicality.
All right. I got some pens here. I'm gonna try to do a little, just kind of ink over it. I have no idea what size pen to use. I imagine it would be different for different textures, right? Different thicknesses
For what?
for just doing inking over stuff.
I suck at inking.
Yeah, I'm probably about to suck at inking, but I've got these pens and I'm trying to make it look less busy and actually maybe erase over it. So I'm just gonna Just
The
some of
different
it.
thicknesses do change with texture. Well, to do with textures, but that's
Mm-hmm.
because it's rendering.
Yeah.
Inking is just rendering the edges.
Okay. Yeah. So I gotta find the right size here.
So,
That's no, it's not too big. What is this? This is size 7. No, size 1. This is a size 1 micron Picma. Is it Picma? Yeah, micron size 1 Picma graphic. So I know I don't have this down yet. It's so like busy right here. I can't hardly. I know what's going on, but it's almost like oh, it's all kinds of craziness going on. I haven't really drawn the hand that well. I'm probably just gonna leave it basic shapes for the hands right now. But let me see here, and then I can erase over it later. It's kind of the. Let's see if I can see. Here we go.
who else is here?
The metal was here. Uh,
Participants is not helpful. No one has said anything in a while.
yeah, he probably fell asleep. Still there, metal? It's a late night, so I don't know. I'm gonna retweet and say I'm gonna
Yeah, it's
retweet.
like 5:30.
Is it that late? Oh shit, it is. Notifications. Yeah, I chatted with Michael Derrick earlier today. Uh, Live streamed for his book, The Abductables. Let's see.
He seems like an okay guy.
He was actually he's a really good guest because he kept talking.
He seems like an okay guy.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and just say still drawn if anybody's interested.
Oh, the metal is still here.
Okay.
Yeah, for cartoony stuff, you generally. Well, no. Sort of yes. They actually want to do. You do thinner for a lot of the like Warner Brother cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it just depends on like which cartoon style you're going for.
Yeah. See,
It's
size
like
1 is typically what I use to outline panels or fill in large shadows.
whatchamacallit, I think Hanna-Barbera uses pretty thick outlines.
Yeah. Let's see.
Oh, by the way, my book has like 6 days left. It's at
Yes, definitely pitch your book. Tell us about your book while we're out here.
$2,190 something dollars
You should
of like the $3,000 goal.
always be selling.
Yeah,
Tell us about your book while we're out here just
it's a
scribbling.
book, and it's a book.
That's not a way to sell it.
I should probably try to think of something. No, it's about a orphan that her parents got killed in some crossfire between like rebels. I'm not sure what the correct word for it is. They're not rebels, and I don't want to use the word insurgents,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not terrorists. They're like freedom fighters, but you wouldn't use the word freedom fighters, which are just terrorists internally. Like I'm not sure which is the right word for
Well,
it, but
it's a perspective because, like, to the British, George Washington was a terrorist, right?
yeah.
So, I mean, that's the perspective of the writer. You don't see them as a terrorist; you see them as a freedom fighter. So, as far as in reference to your book, they would be freedom fighters. I'm assuming
Well, I don't
it
even
would
know
be some
what they
kind.
are. It's like it just is an event that happens. It's not quite important what they actually are.
Mm-hmm.
They're supposed to be like non-government people, but they and the government fight agents like had a shootout, and her parents got killed in the crossfire. And then during the chaos of like trying to figure out what happened and all like that, she somehow triggered a portal into the world, the fairy realm,
Mm-hmm.
uh, because she has innate magic. And then she met Merlin, who taught her how to control magic. Uh, saw how the fairy realm was, remembered how the world was, and it sort of did like the whole Batman thing where she vowed that she wanted peace in the world, and so she wanted to try to get everything, all the worlds to be peaceful. She grew up, came back to the human realm, and that's where the story begins.
Okay.
So she's sort of like Batman when when they have those sort of side stories where he's given the power of Superman or Green Lantern or so.
Mm-hmm.
However, even the same personality, where it's a totalitarian dictatorship. That's her plan.
All right. So she's the good guy then, or
She
is she becoming a totalitarian?
she thinks she's the good guy.
Okay.
Obviously, the aim of what she's doing is to bring peace to the world, but the way that she's gonna try to bring peace to the world is, as the thing says, any means by any means.
It's have you read Injustice? It sounds very. I mean, I'm not saying it sounds exactly like Injustice. I'm saying you're copying it. Just it's
What's Injustice?
it's the tack. It's the tack that Superman took. It's a completely separate DC world.
Oh, that
Where,
one, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I haven't read that. I
where
know what you're talking about though.
yeah, he's forced by the Joker. How it starts is he's forced by the Joker, who mixed kryptonite and he mixed
Causes them to kill Lois, yeah.
yeah, forced him to kill Lois, and then he goes. Superman just goes psycho and says, "I have to basically make the whole world, safe and pure and good and all that." So he becomes this like super dictator, and about half the heroes go on his side, and Batman goes against him, and half the heroes go against him, and he becomes a totalitarian regime. So that's it. I mean, I'm not saying you're copying that or that your story is exactly like that. I'm just saying
Well, no,
that's what it puts
that's
me in
the funny
mind
part
of.
is they would be copying me if that's the case. No, that's the funny thing with this is like it's like, well, these things look like they came from 40K. It's like I look it up, it's like, oh, they were created after this, so they would be like stealing from me, not the other way around.
That's always kind of tricky because one of the characters that I'm working on with you were here when Paul Dozier was on, right? One of the characters I was working on that me and him were working on is a character called Cyber Lynx, and it's nothing like Cyber Frog, and it's nothing like Lynx with that Ethan came up with for X-23 when he came up with the idea, the basic general idea of X-23. He called her Lynx, and he was talking about it on his show, and we were doing the thing. I'm like, no, because we already had the cyber in the name, and now the Lynx thing. It sounds like we're bumming off of him, even though I came up with the idea before I had ever heard that he had done any kind of character named Lynx.
Yeah, I know.
It,
Remember I read it.
oh my god, I was freaking out, and I talked to Doug about it, and he's like, yeah, don't change the name. It's not that big a deal. Nobody's gonna.
Yeah, that's why people think that I plagiarized this.
Mm-hmm.
Is because someone in around 2011 had a web novel or something like that
Mm-hmm.
with the name The Veil War, and it has
Oh,
goblins in it. As far as it's like, that's all I know about it. Like, really? Like, you think it's plagiarized just by that? Wow, that's a stretch, but okay.
yeah. I mean, there's nothing new under the sun. That's the saying. So something is always going to at least resemble something else in some way, and people will draw, oh, you must have got it from that. No matter what you do, I mean, that's bound to happen.
Yeah, I just wish they would have came to me and been like, "What's up?" Like,
Yeah,
you couldn't
I
even take
never
me that
assumed.
courtesy. What the hell?
Yeah, I never assume those kind just because unless it's like so obvious. I mean, there are some people that clearly they've taken the idea from something else. But it's such a fine line. I mean, you never know whether somebody. And sometimes I'm like I've done stuff, and then it's like, and then I see something else, and I'm like, oh, you know what? I probably saw that, and that's where it popped into my. Oh my god, I put his toe on the wrong side. I think I did. I put. Holy crap! I completely messed up the toes.
Well, the background for the Veil War is that, in the ancient past, there was a barrier put up between the world of myth and mankind.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And supposedly this was done for the benefit of mankind, or at least that's a theory for inside the world of like the fairy realm, that they think maybe that was why they did it. So, and then like I put this completely outside of my mind when I stopped working at it, like in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
And then last year, like I pulled up the City of Heroes characters that I had made that I'm using to create all on the universe for and creating a script for, and I created this background, and I used the background where the gods of Rome and all like that, actually all these things actually existed, just like in the Veil where they actually existed.
Yeah.
And what had happened is that around 2,000 years ago, during the Roman age, uh, the gods were like, hey, maybe it would be a good idea to step back and let humans develop on their own. Maybe we're the cause of them not developing further. And so they all stepped back. So there came like a kind of mist or barrier or veil or whatever you want to call it in
Mm-hmm.
that world. And then I like realized that I'm like, I sort of like ripped myself off.
Well, you that character Cyberlinks came from it's how I met Paul because what it was he was looking for something, just a script to work off, something short for his portfolio, and I had this other the script I had written, and I was like, oh, I have this little side character, so why don't and there's a little fight scene where when we introduce this side character, so it was only like a couple of pages. I'm like, I can beef it up to 4 or 5 pages for you. And when we finished and we worked together back and forth, and we really like working together, it ended up being 9 pages. And so we have this little 9 page thing out there that I don't think anyone's seen. I think I might have shown one person, but eventually I think that's going to be like a almost like an ash can when we finally drop an Indiegogo on that character. But we're working on another book before that, so eventually when we get there. But that's
Is the side character the character that she fights on the train?
no, she's the side character.
Ah,
So Cyberlinks is the side character. The main character for this whole story was that she came from was it was kind of like Batman, only the guy who would be Batman never wears the Batman suit. What he does is he puts together a team of people. Some of them are better. One of them is like a former CIA guy. One of them is like a brutal, like special forces kind of guy. Another guy is like he would be like an upper officer kind of thing, in like special forces or something, intelligence, that kind of thing. And so all of them have these different experiences. They would all wear a similar suit, and the idea was to trick the bad guys into thinking it was one guy doing everything.
ah,
Because
that
then,
old ploy.
yeah, so they could all. It was what?
That old ploy.
Yeah. So the whole idea was to make the bad guys all think there was one superhero, when in reality it's a bunch of different guys with different technologies. And one of the people that helps design the suits and all that, she wanted to get in on it because she's designing the suits and all that. And they're like, well, no, obviously you can't because you're a girl, and it gives the whole thing away. So she was like, fine. And she kind of in secret creates her own suit. And later in that particular story, she would come in and they would act as partners. But I took that part where she goes to a park to test out the suit as the little street level crime fighter. And I took that little scene and gave it to Paul, and we expanded it and stuff. So that's where she comes from. That's where Cyberlinks comes from.
Mm.
She wasn't supposed to be the main character.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had that problem where the main character isn't the main character.
Well, like, and again, I didn't expect to ever. I didn't know if that original script would ever get made, and maybe I'll tweak it, and at some point in the future, maybe I'll make it. But right now, that one came up, and he did the thing, and I made like a kind of a story for it. And that one, it was real simple. There was no real background. It was just a fight scene, basically. And I was like, you know what? And when he drew it, then I started getting more ideas. Because I think her name was just going to be Lynx, or the Lynx, or whatever. And then when he drew it, I started getting more ideas. Oh, we called it Cyberlinks because it sounds kind of like an old internet program. And so the suit has all these things that it's like a super Google program inside of it. So it's kind of like an AI, but the AI isn't like Jarvis. It's more like a retriever dog. It gets the info and brings it back to her, and then she still has to figure out how to use it. She still has to kind of analyze the data and decide what to do with it, and during fights or during investigations, that kind of stuff. And all of that's in the suit, and it's the basic operating system of how the suit works.
There are have you ever seen Xenogears? Or Xenosaga rather?
I think I've heard of it.
Well, inside that game, it takes place in the future, but they have essentially advanced gopher AI.
Mm-hmm.
You know what gophers are, right?
I assume the little animal, or like the guy that gets you coffee.
No, gopher in internet lingo is basically search engine shit.
Okay.
It's search engines before search engines existed.
Okay.
But they have a full AI style thing where they try to they have their own personalities and everything like that. But they don't analyze any of the data. They just have they're just a personality there. So that you tell them to go get something and they'll go get something.
Yeah, and this for mine, I tried to, because I didn't want to. I tried everything to avoid her being Iron Man, and so I said there has to be whatever. But God, those eyes are ridiculously terrible on that. I'm looking at my drawing. I'm like, wow, the eyes are awful. Yeah. So so I tried to avoid all the. Well, now the AI is a character. Because I wanted her to be the character, and I tried to do everything I can not to Mary Sue her. So
Well, what you can do with the AI is later you can give it an upgrade and then you can make it a character if you wanted to.
if we wanted to, yeah. I mean, I think using it is kind of a retriever dog type thing. I mean, obviously it doesn't bark or any of that kind of stuff, but that does make it kind of a character. And the same way that I'm trying to think of a good example. And the same way that the Millennium Falcon is kind of a character in the movie. You know what I'm saying? In Star Wars, the Millennium Falcon is sort of a character. And I mean, it's not direct like Han Solo is, but there are certain quirks to the ship and certain things like the Enterprise is a character in Star Trek in a sense, because it works a certain way. It has a computer voice. It does certain things that you kind of expect from it.
Yeah.
So I guess it would be a character in that way.
Yeah, I never really got in the whole like I understand what people are saying when they say like the scenery is like character, and I'm just like, sure, yeah, yeah, it is. But I character denotes, like personality and
Well, and when like the ship has certain quirks that constantly happen, like if a ship is known for always breaking down at a certain time and it's predictable, then again it may not have any lines and it doesn't hold the same weight as a speaking character.
yeah, you anthropomorphize them.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe you just anthropomorphize it in your head or whatever, even if you don't straight up say, "Oh, the ship is thinking this," or that like Mjolnir is a character in a sense for Thor because it always comes back to him. It has certain traits that are predictable. It always will come back to him. It it has to choose who's worthy. So there's that little bit in there. I can tell once I erase all these pencils, this is going to look, especially right here in the hand, it's going to look really weird. I'm putting a little bit of kind of texture on it just to, I haven't really studied how like clothes fall on people. So I'm kind of putting random wrinkles in it. His little outfit there. All right.
Yeah, see the problem with that metal is that I'm not that type of person. Like things don't have personalities to
Yeah.
me.
You're not creative. Get off my show.
Like I'm sorry, it's just a car. I don't know what your deal is with trying to make it have personality.
Let's see. I'm trying to think. I don't, I don't know how young you are, but I used to watch a show called Hardcastle and McCormick.
No, I've never seen it.
Yeah, and
Never even heard of it.
yeah, it was in the 80s. It was in the mid to late 80s, and the basic story was it was about this guy was a judge, and this other guy was a criminal, sort of. He was a race car driver, and he had kind of a shady past and stuff. And he stole a prototype race car, and he did it to keep it out of the hands of the bad guys because they'd killed his friend who designed the car, and he wanted to keep it out of their hands. So, and all this takes place in the first episode. So what happens is he goes to jail, and the judge who put him in jail, his name is Hardcastle, goes to the jail where he's at, and he's like, "Look, I'm gonna cut you this deal. What they're going to do is they're going to release you into my custody, and then basically you're going to help me solve all these. I had to let all these people go on technicalities, even though I knew they were illegal. So you're going to live with me, and you're going to use your smarts and my resources, and basically we're going to be Batman and Robin, and we're gonna basically bring these guys to justice." That was the premise of the show. So he had kind of the street level shady background, and he was the hard case judge who was always had to play by. He always played by the rules, but he wrote the rule book in a sense because he's a judge. So that's so that. But the car, to get down to it, too much explanation. The race car was on the show, and that's you. It was kind of a because when you watch the show was the judge, it was Hardcastle, it was McCormick, and it was his car. And the car didn't really ever do anything like other than it drove fast. But those were the three things that you expected on the show. So in that sense, the car is a character in the show.
Move your drawing up a bit. You're like 2/3 of the way. Like you can move it. Like
I just
your drawing picks up like 2/3 of the picture, and it can go up like another third. Yeah, it's good
you
right
want to
there.
see the feet?
No, I just wanted to see more of the lower body.
Yeah.
Now you're off, but
Hmm?
on the top.
On
So.
the top, yeah. Well, I mean, it's only so big. I can't zoom the camera in and out. It's only got one view.
Okay, what are you doing with the line going by the sword?
Which one? This one here.
The robe line, the gi line. It
Uh,
goes
I have to make the bottom of the gi. I just kind of haven't finished it. Which you talking about the sleeve here by the hand or like on his chest?
on the chest. It looks
Yeah,
like you're
technically it should come down. I haven't figured out. I didn't leave myself room. Like the gi should probably come here, come around, and work like pajama bottoms,
yeah, it looks like
more or
what
less like that.
you're like trying to have an opening by this like under the sleeve.
Oh, okay. Like right here.
Like right above the crotch is what it looks like you have there, but I guess not.
I mean, this little line right here. I don't know. It hasn't come. This probably should fall more straight down as opposed to keep going in the direct instead of just following the line of the sword.
No, no, off. I meant off the sleeve, and then you have
Oh,
like
right here. You mean
no, it's off the sleeve. It's
right here?
no,
Okay, right
it's
here.
under. Yeah,
I think that was just a straight line.
yeah,
I don't think I. Or it might have been. You know what? Before I put any of the gi there, that might have just been a stray wrinkle in the pant that I was working on. I don't know. It's nothing significant.
yeah. It just
Just
looks like
ignore it.
you're
Just ignore
the
it. It
other.
doesn't mean anything. Yeah. So let's. Ideally, I think I would want the gi to fall. I need to work. One of the things I know I need to work on, I've seen, is how clothing falls and how wrinkles fall and that kind of stuff. I know I've seen or not books specifically, but different lessons in books about how to do that, or maybe even people giving little lessons online on on like Twitter or whatever.
Yeah, have fun with that one.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. That's. I mean, I got to work on everything, but like right here where this sleeve is, this looks terrible. Where the sleeve kind of hangs off the forearm, and I actually have put like the hands. I'm just kind of leaving basic shapes because I knew I wasn't going to get those quite right. But that's another thing I'll be working on is his hands. This looks like it looks like he's wearing a glove, but what happened was because it was a stick figure and I have the circle there. I accidentally just drew the line across, but that's supposed to be like the wrist, so technically that shouldn't be there. I'm gonna erase some of this pencil. See how it turned out.
If you move the drawing down a little bit, back down, and go to the head,
Uh huh.
see how the jawline is? That's how you have it,
Uh huh.
where the jawline goes back and curves up, and then it goes behind the air.
Okay. It
That
should
jawline
it should
should
come to
go
the
like
ear.
yeah. And then you do like a rounded towards the other side. No, no, don't do that.
Do what now? Rounded towards what do you mean?
Off the neck, where you were drawing the back of the skull.
Uh
You
huh.
should round into like the round part of the skull. No, no, the part that you just like cut off.
Right here.
Yeah, you
That
want that
should.
to round. The part that you cut off, you want to
Oh, this part right here.
yeah,
Okay. And I would do what
turn
with
that
this?
inside, not to the other way. You want to round it up into the rounding of the back of the skull.
Like make it come out more?
No, no, you just want to convex instead of concave, because that goes into the back of the skull.
Okay. So
The round part of the skull is
yeah,
above that line.
is above this line here.
Yeah,
Okay. So what
because
would I do?
remember, there's the jaw, and
Yeah.
that goes onto the circle.
So this
So,
would like go fit. It would be instead of
so
bending
that
out.
part right there,
Uh huh.
what you're doing is you're connecting the neck to that circle on the back of your head.
Okay.
So it's a straight line, and then you connect that with a circle, and what you end up with is a curved out into the circle.
So this line should be facing this way. That's what you're saying. I'm still
Yeah, it
not
should
quite getting
sort
you.
of be convex.
So instead of facing out, it should bend in.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, not bend in, it should just bend out. It should go up and then bend outwards. rather than coming off into the circle.
Not sure I'm understanding you. It would bend in here and then out that way?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, and it would be coming straight off the neck rather than the jawline.
So it would go up here and then come like that?
Yeah, except more
Okay.
curved.
Except more curved.
Yeah.
Like that.
No.
Oh. You made me screw up. I'm ready. Oh.
But some people draw it like that too. It's weird.
Yeah, it's
But I mean, it's
I know
curve.
that didn't look right. I understand what you're saying about the jawline.
Yeah, it's just smooth curve that happens there. Don't worry, you can shade it.
Yeah. It's just the baseline drawing.
No, and then you can also change that also into hair, so it's not actually.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah. That's how I fix that. I turn it right into hair. So let's see. Not sure I got that right. Let's erase it and see how the inks look. I'll probably have. I'm actually kind of Twitter friends with. I don't know if you know him, Ryan Wynn.
Yeah.
He does some inking on Valiant, on some Valiant books. I think he's got something coming out with Alterna. So I'm gonna try to get. Oh, who's this? Don Thomas, the Time Lord. Are you drawing a samurai? Yes, I'm calling him Samurai Boy. Have you ever been on my show, Don? I don't remember ever seeing you before. But basically, I'm a writer. I've been a little bit of an artist in high school, but not that great. So I'm taking up drawing again. So this is the kind of baseline drawing that I'm doing to show where I'm at right now. And then I'm going to be doing some lessons out of books and doing some anatomy stuff. And we'll be doing more drawings. And this is this is my baseline drawing. I'm calling him basically Samurai Boy. And as I improve, I'll probably come back to the character and try to do a little bit better. The more I learn about anatomy and the more I learn about proportion, perspective, and all that stuff. So this will be the drawing to come back to say, look, I've improved from this. So I'm, I don't know. I think I could have done a lot worse. To tell you the truth, I know that I definitely know what the issues are. There's a lot of them, and I think the hands here are all kind of funky. That's something I know I'm gonna have to work on. His hands. The folds of clothing. Again, perspective. His head is way too big. That kind of stuff. So this is where I'm starting from.
Let's see. For the face, you need more eyebrow line.
I'll need a lot more detail on the face.
Cheek line. You need the under chin line, the chin lip line thingy.
There we go. Now he has a cheekbone. See that? See how fancy an artist I am? I gave him a cheekbone. Yeah, so first time visiting. So if it's your first time visiting, make sure you subscribe and hit that like button. And are you an artist at all? Do you draw, Don? If you do, I'll be inviting artists on to do sketching and give me pointers and just talk about art in general. So we'll be doing that here. So you actually came in at a good time.
Okay, and before you erase the lines, take a look where your arm is for your left arm. No, the other left.
I was just pointing at that.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a lag though. I'm sorry because you're looking at.
Look at the shoulder, and think about where that is. How it compares to where it should be. Like it's upwards.
That's too high?
Yeah.
Okay. See if you see, is this too high right here where the circle is?
Yeah.
That should be what, like down here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because remember, it's like off the clavicle.
And
that clavicle is like right under where that neckline is that's coming in. Yeah, that part.
Okay.
Like
Oh,
That
okay, so it should be like this, or
yeah, your clavicle like comes off and it creates that V,
mm-hmm.
and then it comes out and it slightly goes up, but then the ball of the shoulder goes on that line.
Okay. All right, so we'll keep track of that. He's not wearing a glove here. Again, I just drew the line on the wrist. Let's see. Yeah, and Don Thomas, you're going to want to stay subscribed because I'll be doing. I won't be teaching. Obviously, I'm not a teacher. I'm still learning, but I will be doing lessons on like hands. We'll be drawing hands. We'll be doing feet studies, eyes, noses, all that kind of stuff. And eventually, there will be boob day because I'm going to have to learn to draw female anatomy. So I'm going to be pushing that almost every episode. I'm going to have a boob day.
How do you know it's your first time visiting? You're a Time Lord.
Maybe this is his first chronological visit.
Does that count as first time?
I don't know. Unless you know what, because not that many people watch. So I don't. Since I haven't seen him in previous chats, a future him hasn't come back and been in my previous chats.
That you know of.
Unless he had a different name. Could be he's the metal from the future. Because the metal's in all my chats. He says his favorite artist is Leonardo da Vinci, so he's from the past. Leonardo da Vinci's good study because he created a lot of that perspective kind of stuff, right? He did the guy with his arms stretched that you always see in the circle.
No,
Wasn't that didn't Da Vinci do that? Or was that
later. I think the perspective stuff came later, but
isn't he the guy that did the picture, the guy spread out with his arms?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
but
I
that's
think
not perspective.
Oh, that's proportion, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so he's that guy. I mean, I know him from other stuff, obviously, but as far as drawing, line drawing, he's that guy, and he's obviously guy was a Renaissance man, genius, that kind of stuff. My favorite artist probably is either Todd McFarlane. I like his art, but I like his business sense too, how it relates to his art. I like some of his ideas. I'm going to go with some of his ideas because he's the one that, and it's probably super obvious, but he's the one where it like popped in my head. He'd say he would take hours, a whole day, maybe a week sometimes, I think, and just draw hands. If there was something he was having a problem with, he would draw that thing for over and over and over again until he thought he had it right. So Todd McFarlane is a big one. I like Sam Keith. I love that over the top style. And so I like Simon Bisley as well. So those are probably my three favorites as far as artists. It's all comic book art. So we're a comic book related channel here.
I don't have a favorite artist.
God, you're so boring. No favorite
artist. Artists that I hate, but
now that's interesting. The metal says no. The me from the future turned out to be Zeus, king of Olympus.
No, it's Olympus.
Olympus?
Olympus.
Oh, that's what he's saying. Because he can't spell. All right. So, let's see. So, all right. So how's that cheekbone look? Is that all right? Actually, I mean, I was kind of half joking when I did it, but I tried to.
No, that actually looks good. It's perfectly placed. Not worth it.
All right. So where'd my number 1 pen go? Put the cap on, then put it down. I don't remember.
Yeah, I was debating earlier whether to go editor mode on Mike Miller's page that he posted.
He's big on telling guys, oh, you didn't put this muscle or this, He's big on like I guess he's real knowledgeable, what muscles what and all that stuff. And he was like, oh, you didn't put this particular muscle about blah blah blah. And he'll do that to John Malin all day.
Well, it doesn't matter if you're where you're like the scene is that you got the robber, he's looking outside the window, obviously looking at the motorcycle.
Mm-hmm.
So you get an eye line of where the motorcycle is and what's the direction it's going to follow through the scene, which is the point of that, and that looks great. But then you see follow it through the page, and the motorcycle comes through. That's a great looking page panel, and the next panel you see it skidding across to the pole or beam or whatever, and at that beam suddenly it exploded into huge, like massive scale, and there's a woman next to it with behind a plant. It's like, okay, that beam was not that big, that plant was not that big, and if you went through the scene as you should have, that would have skidded into the thing next to where the beam was in the first place. And it's like, okay, but we're not going to stop there, because next panels, the freaking lady in the plant
Mm-hmm.
move where they are, and then in the next panel, they move again because Lone Star is getting shot, and he should be landing right on the plant and the lady, which are no longer there. Like, I was about to be like, "Do you have an editor?" Because I was the editor. That would not fly with me.
I had a lot of the issues I had with uh, what was it? Jawbreakers was it was story stuff, but there was something. Who was reviewing it? Marmaduke was reviewing it and was doing the same kind of thing. He's like, "What the heck's going on here?" And with this part of the story, and he did like three panels right next to each other, and he was like, "No, that's really shaky the way you did that, and it's too quick and that kind of stuff." There's a lot of kind of quick things. I think the issue I really had with the book was that he didn't uh like go over the origin of the characters. So it's like I don't know who any of these people are, even though I kind of follow him and he kind of explains it. A lot of it's like I have no idea what's going on in certain areas because I don't know the backgrounds of any of these characters. Somebody and I'm looking at it from the perspective of somebody who had never heard Zach before and was just picking this up off the shelf. I mean, it had a really cool cover, but it was like, okay, but you read it and you're like, I don't understand what this guy's doing because I don't know what his powers are.
Yeah, when you're doing a graphic novel, that novel should be self-contained. Everything that you need to know about those characters should be in the book, which means you got to do an origin story in the book for every single character.
Yeah, even if it's just a quickie, a quick explanation. Like one of the characters, who had knife hands. His background is that he was raised by these ninjas, and now they're out to kill him, and they're going to teleport wherever he is once he uses his hands. None of that's explained, but then all of a sudden these ninjas show up, and it becomes a plot point.
It's like, well, that's nice.
Yeah, none of it was explained. It was like, okay, just do this, and then the ninjas show up, and now they got to fight these ninjas or whatever it is, but they don't really explain it, or when they do, they explain it at the point where the ninjas show up, and it's such a quick explanation. You're kind of left going, I don't understand what's going on here. That was my main complaint with. I liked the art. I liked John Malin's art, and all that other stuff was really good.
Did you see the pages that were done by Render Contender that I was coloring?
I don't think so.
The fan thing?
I don't. Was it one of the most things you were going over earlier?
No, it had a Cyber Frog and like all of the characters in it.
No, I didn't. I don't think I saw that.
Yeah, I can pull it up real quick. That's right here. Yeah, it's this thing right here.
Let's post that up. And you're coloring that? Oh, it's all different characters. Or it's
Yeah, it's like
Cyber
I was
Frog and
coloring it, but
Red Rooster.
when I was first starting to color. But
Oh, okay.
if you follow this, like, it's having lots of trouble with that one. But anyways, getting back to the beginning. See, this looks fine. Like, okay, whatever. is over here. So
Mm-hmm.
obviously, Red Rooster is over here.
Mm-hmm.
The door is over here. They're going in. They're doing everything here. He's throwing the thing, so it's gonna blow up right here.
Okay.
So now that hits perfectly. But look at where this guy is looking. This Red Rooster is the wrong way. It's his cape is blowing the wrong way. He's
Oh.
now looking at Red Rooster, but why is he? But that's happening behind him. He's just surprised, which is perfectly fine. And it
Mm-hmm.
gets worse because you got this going. Well, wait, hold up. There's more on this. See, this is coming off. This is all coming from the door. Like, what the fuck is all this shit? This isn't
Yeah.
like, is the ceiling now falling down? I don't know what's up with that.
Yeah. It's you could see. I'm looking at the way they panel the page.
And
It,
now look
it
at
gives
all.
that certain impression. Yeah.
And now, like, you
Why
can
is he?
see. Go ahead.
Why is he looking to shoot? What's his name in the head?
Lone Star? Yeah, I don't know. But more importantly, that's where Red Rooster should be standing.
Mm-hmm.
So how is he the fuck over here?
Oh, I don't know.
And Cyberfrog is over here, even though he should be right in front of Lone Star.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy is over here, even though he should be more like on the ground in front of White and whatever the chick's name is.
Yeah.
And these guys came from behind the bar just randomly. Like, how did they get behind the bar?
All right. Don Thomas says, "What is the hardest thing to draw? In your experience, what do you have the most trouble with?"
Drawing? Like, I don't know. I don't draw anymore. And I mainly drew like people, so
Right now, for me, everything is the hardest thing to draw, just because I'm really just starting out. But most artists, from what I hear, hands, they seem to have a lot of trouble with hands.
oh yeah, hands are difficult. Yeah.
And it's weird because hands, there's so many different angles because you've got all the knuckles and then you've got where it bends at the wrist. And it's easy to screw up what a hand looks like. And you'll see it sometimes where they'll put the hand on the wrong side, like because of I mean, not all the time, but every once in a while you can catch an artist, they mess it up, or they'll have an extra finger, or that kind. I think on the cover of one of these books, maybe it might be Jawbreakers. Somebody's got an extra finger.
Okay. And here's another thing. You see this hole right here?
Mm-hmm.
The wall? It should be over here behind black. That's on the wrong side. That's supposed to be at the door. This is like on the other side of the thing.
Well, the explosion wouldn't have created a bigger spot there, like a bigger hole all the way across.
No, it'd be like somewhere over here in the perspective. Because this is the bar, and we saw that this was like across.
Yeah.
So it should be actually over here. But, and it gets even worse when you start going over here. It's like, how the fuck did these two get together? How did these guys get together?
Yeah.
What's going on over here? And then, like, these guys suddenly jumped outside the building? Like, what? What's going on? I don't...
Yeah.
And that's where I stopped. Because I was like, no, that's okay. I'm done. It's causing me too many problems.
The metal says that definitely diamonds are the hardest thing to draw because they score a 10 on the Mohs mineral scale of hardness.
Do they? Yeah.
All right, so let's do a breakdown of how bad I did on this. Let's see. And then we're going to shut down for the night. Let's see. So these eyes are terrible. We're going to start right from the top. I think the hairline is funky. I think the hairline should have gone more this way.
It's okay.
All right.
I wouldn't ding you for that. Like, because there are hairstyles like that. So I wouldn't ding you for that one.
All right. Let's see. We know about... I didn't do this curve quite right, so that's kind of messed up because I inked it. The eyes definitely need work. I definitely need to work on the eyes. I don't have any eyebrows. Just gonna throw that in like that.
On the whatever side, the other side, not the outside side of the head.
Mm-hmm.
That shouldn't be as flat as that, but that's fine.
Oh, maybe like
Yeah, what happens is it goes out for the cheek and then it comes in for the eye a little bit and then it comes back out for the eyebrow and then comes starts going back in for the brow, the
oh for
forehead.
the eyebrow. Okay,
Yeah.
so that would all right. We'll work on that. Yeah, terrible, sleepy, weird, creepy eyes. Probably noses
Those are
are
okay.
noses are. I don't know. People do noses differently, but maybe I should have done a little bit like that. His nostril a little bit. I didn't put any lips on him. I did kind of just a simple line mouth. Let's see. The jawline. I know I need to work on that a little bit. The neck probably. I know
The
I
next
need to. I need to do more. I need to do the clavicle, I guess, because I know that's what we were talking about earlier, where I had the line of the shoulder wrong a little bit.
Well, that's just because earlier that's you did the work and it was in the wrong place
Mm-hmm.
generally. So
All right, so
that'll
one of
just fall in place over time.
yeah, and I got let's see the clothing. I need to work on that. This got all busy. The hands here are obviously terrible because I did those kind of real quick and whatever. I'm not gonna make excuses, but those I mean I definitely need work on the hands. Again, here's the way the gi falls here. Let's get that.
The leg is too high up.
This one.
Generally it's too high up. Because it shouldn't like just think about where the midline is. Like your belly button would be about where that this bottom of the sleeve is.
Right here.
Yeah, it'd be about right there.
Okay.
And now think about where your leg comes off from. It's a little bit lower than that.
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, the leg starts lower than the belly button. Unless you're me, where I'm really fat, my belly button goes pretty low. All right, so the belly button will be right about here. So we need to work on getting my skeletal structure and basic overall perspective, not perspective,
By the way, you're still
proportion. I'm still
on
what
my
now?
you're still sharing on my avatar. It's not
Oh,
showing your
geez,
screen.
no. So I went over all that for nothing. All
Yeah.
right. So again, okay, well, just real quick, the eyes obviously. I'll probably work on the hairline, but you said that wasn't much of a ding. Uh, this it kind of looks really scully because of the way I just would. But I mean, I definitely I need to work on all this.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
just something that you get like
yeah,
used to with that one.
like I said, this is a baseline drawing, so we'll see how I improve over time based on what this one is. You see, obviously, I didn't really work that hard to try to do the hands. One, because it was really busy and I couldn't really see it, and it was just becoming a big graphite, you know, jumble right there. But yeah, later on, that's definitely I know it's something I got to do. Same thing with this hand. This kind of looks all screwy. That's supposed to be like the inside cuff of his gi. I probably don't have foreshortening right. I would imagine. Again, you're talking about the belly button should be here, so
Yeah.
my legs need to come down a little bit. And I think I try. I think I tried. I understand that these all need to be the same lengths and stuff. So I don't know if he's standing up straight if the leg is long enough. Uh,
That's about okay.
all right, and
The right side one is a little bit shorter, but you would get a little bit shorter with foreshortening.
okay,
Generally, it is okay, but it would probably need to be a little bit longer.
okay. And here we got the little ankle. Here we got his little thing. That's. I mean, that's. I don't know. I imagine that because that's a straight side shot. So eventually, I'm going to want to learn different angles and things for how these are going to go. Uh, all right, so I think that's
Okay, and
pretty
now
good.
before you go,
Uh huh.
you should draw a square, sphere, cylinder. Draw those three real quick. Like just draw them freehand.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. You're probably you're a little lagged. So let's see. There's my cylinder. You want a cube? You mean?
Yeah, a cube, a cylinder, and a sphere.
Okay.
Let's see how well you can do those.
A sphere is probably going to be. Obviously, drawing perfectly round isn't my thing. At least not right away.
I think, is that all of them? Oh, a cone. You want to do a cone too. Cone or a pyramid or something like that. Because those are the basic shapes. You got to use
Yeah.
those for everything.
There we go. I don't know if you can see them. We'll bring it down a little bit. There's my cone. There's my sphere. Which is, obviously it's all going to need a little bit of work, but yeah.
And you can do those mathematically.
Yeah, I've got a little circle tool, although it doesn't have ovals on it. But I do have a compass too. So I got
No, I mean you can just draw like freehand but you need to like build a grid and do like
okay.
Vanishing points and all like that. It's a
Oh,
massive pain. No one actually does it, but you can do it. Like there's a trick where you can draw a fence going down off into the distance,
mm-hmm.
and you can figure out how far away equal distance poles should be, and how like large they should be based on drawing X's.
Metal says now do a dodecahedron. Is that the 12-sided?
Yeah.
Let's see if I can do it. No, we're not going to try that. It's
I
6
don't even
o'clock in
think
the
I
morning.
could do
I've been up
that.
all night. Now I'm going to draw a 10-sided die.
Yeah, off the top of my head, I don't think I could do a dodecahedron. Because it's like a triangle and then like, right?
I wouldn't even know how to start. I wouldn't even know how to begin doing that.
And it's like shaped as a pentagon with like a triangle like around it, and it's difficult.
All right. So what I'll probably do is, how long is this one? How long are we on here?
It has been live 3 hours.
Yeah, because I think I took a nap and I woke up.
82 minutes.
So it's just 3 hours 82. No, it's 3 hours and 82 minutes. So it's been 82 minutes.
No, it's been like 2 hours.
Okay, so
according to this, I think. Yeah, started about 2 hours ago.
Yeah, because I know I woke up at around 3 and started this. So we're gonna put 2 hours right here. So I want to log all my hours and how long I've been actually doing it. So we're gonna add them all up, and then we'll see how many hours I have at the end of a year. See how I've improved, and then ideally I would go to 10,000 hours, because I think that's when they say you become proficient at something, right?
Yeah, that's a lie, but that's not how that works. It's the average amount of time to become an elite of the elite of the elite.
For 10,000 hours?
10,000 hours is.
I thought that was just proficient.
No.
Oh, all right. Well, maybe
become proficient. It's like 24 hours or something like that.
That's I can't. No, not for this. Not for there's no way I'd become proficient if I drew for 24 hours.
It's a specific like. It's like 24 hours if you're doing something correct.
Okay.
Or something like that. It's of a certain type of practice.
But yeah, I'm gonna need the 10,000 hours just to be proficient. There's no way I'm not doing this to become the next Ethan Van Sciver or the next whoever. I'm doing it just to learn the basics, be decent at it, and if I'm enjoying it, and if I see that I'm making a lot of improvement, then probably I'm going to work harder at it to be even better. But I have pretty, I don't want to say low expectations, but I'm trying to be realistic about you never know what's going to happen. It could be that I develop some kind of cartoony style that I really like and just stick with that, or it could be that I develop a more advanced comic book style that, because I don't think it'll be in a year, but if it looks like that's where it's going. So yeah, I'll take a picture of this, stick it on Instagram with maybe a link to this. I don't know how all Instagram works. I have a hard time with Instagram.
Yeah, I don't
Just
use Instagram.
understanding, even understanding Instagram, I have a hard time.
Yeah, somehow there's a private message people on Instagram, and I'm like, I don't know how to do this. There's nothing on here that says to do that.
See, I was so good at Facebook, and then I started on Twitter and almost like half abandoned Facebook. I almost never go on anymore.
Really?
I spend a lot of time on Twitter, and then less time doing these kind of streams.
Well,
And
Facebook is like garbage, and then Instagram is Facebook's a retarded cousin. It's essentially what it is.
well, yeah, Facebook owns Instagram now, right?
Yeah.
And I know Instagram is basically all pictures, which is why I never really understood it because I don't take that many pictures. I'm just starting now, learning to draw. So
I don't get social media. It's like we're going to give you can put like Twitter is you can post 120 characters or now 280 or whatever the hell it is.
ideally, the idea of social media, I
Like
think originally the concept was, I think people legitimately, like for Facebook, the original stuff was, to make friends and
well, it's like have you
maybe
not
to
heard,
keep up with people you haven't seen in a long time. I think now what people use all of social media for is to get that dopamine hit from false fame.
well
You know
yeah,
what I'm
but
saying?
I'm like haven't you heard of forums? Like like Reddit and all these Reddit is based on an old crappy version of forums that doesn't work well. And Twitter is like it's a forum basically, but it's really horribly designed with a super low character limit.
Well, that's because everything now in media, it's sound bites and hot takes, and all that's all tweets are. It's sound bites and hot takes.
Like, I was happy with forums, and then somehow they transformed into social media. I'm like, what are you guys? Why are you regressing? It's
Oh,
like this
I
is
was
horrible.
I was on when I was in college. Have you ever heard of ISCA?
No.
ISCA was like one of the early. It was from University of Iowa, and ISCA is it was basically it was a chat. It was a billboard. Is that what they call them? It was basically a live chat.
Bulletin board. No, it's
Exactly. It was basically like, you could break it down. It's the chat from here in YouTube. That's all it was. Everybody would talk to each other through a chat, and it would be like a whole bunch of people. And then you could say, "Oh, uh, you could put the asterisks and say that you were, physically doing something. Oh, I was,
Are you
walk.
talking about IRC?
It could be early iron. This was back in 1994, when I was doing this.
ICQ?
No, it was called ISCA.
Uh,
I know for sure it was called ISCA, and maybe it was a form of those, or maybe it was one of the early forms of that, or maybe that came from that. But it was an early chat room. It runs exactly pretty much like the chat here here on. That's about the only thing I can compare.
well, was it the on a website?
Yeah, it was University of Iowa is where it was run from. And
And the
ISCA,
protocol and everything was called ISCA? Are you
yeah,
sure it was?
I know absolutely positive, without a doubt, it was called ISCA, and ISCA stands for like, let's see, Iowa something computer something, I think, but I know for sure because I was on it almost every day. It was called ISCA, and it was basically just a chat, and that's all it was. I was on it. I was in New Hampshire, and we used to log on to it. Like I said, it was early internet for me right after high school.
Yeah, I would bet that it was using IRC. and
Probably.
it was using, and it was called Iska because it was a specific instance of the chat protocol.
Yeah, I mean, it was specific to
Yeah.
again, University of Iowa or wherever.
No, it was AOL.
I did have AOL, but it wasn't even at that level. Again,
Yeah.
it wasn't any more advanced than the chat feature here in YouTube.
Which is actually fairly advanced. I can't break it.
I don't know. I mean, as far as how it operates is uh, meaning like you could make up a name and then you would talk to each other. That was the extent of it. There wasn't any posting of any pictures. There were no emojis, nothing like that. Everything was it was just, you know, you type walks and opens the door. You know, that you would type it in. You know, walks and then, you know, oh, so you let so and so in the room, that kind of thing. That was as advanced as it got for that. But there were a lot of people, and I think one of the people that that was one of the original people on that chat does something at University of Iowa now, runs either the computer program or runs whatever their computer system, something like that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and shut down. I want to thank everybody for showing up. Don Thomas, I hope you've subscribed. Make sure you hit that like button, hit the notifications. Thanks for Dragon for showing up and having fun and kind of helping me out here and telling me some of the things I need to work on. I'll take a picture of this. I'm going to post it up on Instagram. I'll do another post on Twitter. And I need to start getting to bed. The whole house, if I haven't kept them awake, the whole house is about to wake up. So, all right. Again, thanks, Dragon, for showing up. And we'll be done for the night.
Goodbye, people.
Bye-bye.
I will kill you later.